Hi, welcome back, everyone. This is your friend Greedy Fanfics, bringing you another fanfiction. Today, we're diving into the first part of What If Deku Had a One for All Quirk. All credit for this story goes to Dark Puppy Memes, so please support them by checking out the link in the description for more details. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. Now, let's get into the fanfic. The name is ᴜᴘ Todoroki. Yes, that Todoroki. Okay, legally I'm ᴜᴘ-ᴛᴏ. Of course ⴅɪṛᴛᴏ would cheat on his wife, who was a Quirk marriage union anyway, to have his perfect tool with a lady who had a powerful fire/heat Quirk 2 to make the Hellfire storm ⴡᴇʟ kid, which worked actually. However, if ⴅɪṛᴛᴏ figured that out, then he would immediately accept me, which honestly makes me feel sick. No overheating drawback and no burns whatsoever in using my Hayasha Quirk. Almost like you're not supposed to do Quirk marriage bullshit and stick with what your Quirk's bullshit found attractive to make strong kids. However, it's Hellfire being a bastard. Here's my story. The story of finding family, healing people, and especially stopping so much fucking bullshit before it gets started, thanks to a helpful prophecy Quirk welder kid that showed me the secret to artificial Quirk creation. Yeah, you heard that right. Artificial Quirks. It all starts with ᴜᴘ getting one for all. Of course, no one knows that except for me. However, that story you already know about. This is my story, so we start with Class 1.C in UA High School. The only important student in Class 1.C is Hitoshi Shinzo except for me, so don't worry about it so much. I was sitting in the back of the classroom beside a window, while seething over the sports festival that's coming up. I played with my naturally black hair that was long and shaggy that went down to my waist, had clawed hands, but I absolutely hated the turquoise blue eyes that I had, and I had 2 pointed dog ears on top of my head. I hated my half-brother ᴘᴘ, the true dud upstart that is younger than me by 3 months. I puffed smoke from my breath like an angry dragon. I'll show them, all of them. I'll turn and beat that piece of true dud shit into the ground, with all of my powers and my Hayasha Quirk. I am not the bitch pup anymore. My MOM is actually a dog ⴱᴜᴘ/fire Quirk welder woman, making me a dog ⴱᴜᴘ/ash/fire/strength enhancing/speedster/warping/telepath Quirk welder kid. Yeah, it's like there's a spiteful god that exists to make the bastard pup the absolute strongest in terms of sheer power. I constantly hang out in my Hayasha/dog ⴱᴜᴘ form that's immune to transformation straining, because the true human skin is literally teenage ⴜᴜ Todoroki, with the same exact haircut and red hair. I haven't been human in many years in public. It's a good thing that Hanyo scarring exists, because my true human skin had claws and elongated fangs instead of regular canine teeth, small differences that make me feel like I wasn't a Endeavor clone. My asshole father believed that I was permanently transformation strained into being a dog ⴱᴜᴘ demon, which goes to show just how little ⴅɪṛᴛᴏ knew about healthy quirks. There's many people who are ⴱᴜᴘ or Hanyo Quirk welders. I'm one of those people. See, here's the thing. Whenever you are in your Hanyo or ⴱᴜᴘ form, your brain actually changed to a inhuman creature, or mostly inhuman creature. I got up from my seat and got ready for the sports festival. I saw how pathetically easy it was to win the obstacle course. All I have to do is warp to victory. Sure enough, that's exactly what I, ᴜᴘ-ᴛᴏ, did, to the stunned amazement of everyone else as I emerged from a pillar of smoke at the finish line. I spoke telepathically towards ⴅɪṛᴛᴏ where only he could hear me. Hey, I'll beat your fucking true dud upstart pup father. I will win this child's game effortlessly and no one will stop me, Hayasha. 3 hours later. 3 p.m. It was pathetic how easy it was to destroy my opponents during the cavalry battle, with a partner in Hitoshi Shinzo being the only one who wanted to be a team with me. Now it was the tournament battles. One after another, I dismantled the hopes and dreams of many Class 1.B kids, but I saw the true dead pup, ᴘᴘ Todoroki, who had no idea of my existence, but he will learn today. Fresh after beating ᴜᴘ-ᴛᴏ-ᴅᴛᴇ, ᴘᴘ walked to the podium, and so did I while kicking my shoes and socks off because I was being serious this time. ᴘᴘ, the true dud upstart pup, asked me rudely. You could have easily been a class 1. A student like me. Why hold back your stupidly powerful fire/warping/heteromorphic dog Quirk's bullcrap until now? I spoke with a jagged and sharp voice towards ᴘᴘ. Hypocrite! You dare say I will only use my ice in combat to ᴜᴘ-ᴛᴏ-ᴅᴛᴇ, but you then say that to me? No, I wanted to overshadow you, ᴘᴘ, or should I say, little brother. I turned into my loathsome true human form, which looked like a clawed and barefoot teenage boy version of ⴈ. No one could deny me and my claims forever with the cameras filming. I spoke with a sharp voice towards ᴘᴘ. I used my telepath powers to eavesdrop on your little chat with ᴜᴘ-ᴛᴏ-ᴅᴛᴇ. You actually asked this. Are you All Might's secret love child or something? No, the secret love child is me, dipshit. I don't need ice to topple you down. Be honored I fight you like a human instead of a dog. 괰ᴅᴇᴜ. ᴘᴘ, the true dud pup, was absolutely stunned. The bell sounded to start the match, and immediately I lunged violently in an instinctive manner and slashed ᴘᴘ with my claws and made a huge cut across ᴘᴘ's lips. ᴘᴘ created a bunch of ice to try to imprison me, but it didn't work because I effortlessly melted the ice into water with blue flames, fire greater than ⴈ. ᴘᴘ POV. ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ is fucking pissed, and for good reasons too, if he was actually telling the truth about his genetics. What is a dog 괰ᴅᴇᴜ Quirk? Obviously that's something that didn't mix with Endeavor's crap if he was a kid who was a fair result of Endeavor, who was desperate for his tool to take down All Might. I was trying to take ᴘᴘ down without hurting him, but he was out for blood clearly. ᴘᴘ clearly fought more akin to a wild animal than a human. I kept using ice to trap my half-brother, but he kept immediately melting it to water. I saw Father's eyes, gleaming with a cunning and proud aura. If ᴘᴘ was my brother, then he had to fucking lose because he was clearly deemed a failure. And the last thing I want is my brother to endure Endeavor training for the rest of his life. ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ growled like a feral dog, like he heard my thoughts. ᴘᴘ spoke with his own mind in a very canine-like and raspy voice in my mind. True dud upstart pup. You have no idea how powerful you are. I smell the salt and dog 괰ᴅᴇᴜ in your blood. Use it. Try to control the inner monster within you. I broke down Quirk madness in my Hayasha Quirk. Time to embrace your monstrousness of your unholy Quirk marriage birth. If you win, I will teach you everything you are capable of. Fight like a Hanio, you fucking piece of shit. Let the roles swap. I the human, you the dog 괰ᴅᴇᴜ. I was just baffled by that statement. Quirk madness? ᴘᴘ spoke out loud in a slower and more irritated voice towards me. Wow, you really need some help, like medically, to learn how a fucking quirk works. You have to embrace your monstrousness as a kid with a quirk like yours. I will teach you this one little thing. Imagine as you will a monster and devouring its heart to take its form for yourself forever. Meditate, relax and close your eyes. Watch me. ᴘᴘ sat down, and he was sitting like a dog, and he closed his eyes as his hair became black while going to his waist. His clawed hands became sharpened, 2 cool turquoise blue markings on his cheekbones appeared, and 2 pointed dog ears appeared on top of ᴘᴘ's head. I awkwardly mimicked ᴘᴘ and sat down like a dog and closed my eyes. I searched deep within myself and saw a ghostly image of a giant dog, and I ripped its heart out mentally and absorbed its powers forever. The ghost dog dissolved into my body, and I felt my senses heightening, and especially my smell and hearing, as the hair on my head felt heavier than before. I opened my eyes and saw my reflection in a puddle of water. Strawberry pink hair that went down to my waist, pointed dog ears, clawed hands, elongated fangs instead of regular canine teeth, and a strawberry pink dog's tail that was as long as my body. ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ turned into his true human form and smiled and said, Now you done it. I knew you could do it, ᴘᴘ. Now I'll never tell you how to get out of your 괱ᴇᴘᴛᴏ form, and why would you want to be human, especially if you were a endeavor fuckwhite pup? Prove to me that humanity is naturally interior to a 괱ᴇᴘᴛᴏ. Fight like a beast. I have to win. I have to prove that humanity, especially in yourself, is worth it to my half-brother ᴰᴗ. Even if it means that I'll never escape from my 괱ᴇᴘᴛᴏ quirk form. I fought against my brother like I always had done in training, but that just made ᴰᴗ furious, and he warped away, and before I could react, ᴰᴗ-ᴛᴏ grabbed my tail and slammed my body to the ground so hard that I threw up. ᴰᴗ snarled wickedly like a mad dog, and he said while smashing my face into the ground with his bare foot, "You're a pathetic pup. Where's your humanity you're so proud of? Hypocrite! You thought this. I have to win. I have to prove that humanity, especially in yourself, is worth it to my half-brother ᴰᴗ. Deep down you don't want to be human like our dipshit father. Why would you? After all, didn't he push your bitch of a mother to madness?" I was absolutely filled with instinctive rage as ᴰᴗ laughed harshly and bitterly. ᴰᴗ POV. I saw ᴰᴗ's eyes become dark red with dark green vertical slits for pupils, and I screamed at father, "Look at your creation! I am the one who perfected him! Not you dipshit! After this, I'll kill you and eat you raw! First I have to attend to the yokai berserker rampage that ᴰᴗ is doing." I turned into my ⴰ form and dodged the rampaging ᴰᴗ's claws effortlessly. I threw ᴰᴗ to the ground so hard that his skull cracked. I snarled as ᴰᴗ swiftly recovered. I spoke to ᴰᴗ in a gloating and condescending tone of voice. "Look at you, having fun with your monster shit! You can't even control yourself! I'm a far superior ᴰᴏ than you because I don't have a bitch for a mother like you!" I kicked ᴰᴗ and he went flying, but he snapped out of his yokai berserker form and his eyes were a cold and determined heterochromic version now. I was just irritated. Suddenly a voice shouted towards me of all people from the stands. "Nensho Keiyuen! You promised to be human in this fight against Todoroki Keiyuen. Be better than endeavor!" I begrudgingly turned into my loathsome true human form as ᴰᴗ and I clashed again, both of them ignoring the cunning and prideful gaze of their dipshit father. Suddenly a buzzer went off. Both ᴰᴗ and I had the most confused and dumb look on our faces that gave absolutely no doubt that we were spawned from the same father. Feral laughter from Present Mike in the microphone. After Present Mike stopped laughing, he told ᴰᴗ and I, "That buzzer means that you ran out of time and had a draw. Time to arm wrestle to decide who moved on." I sat down on the concrete floor as a small pedestal raised up, and ᴰᴗ awkwardly sat across from me in his 괱ᴇᴘᴛᴏ form. The two of them started arm wrestling, and ᴰᴗ awkwardly asked me, "Do you like hot soba noodles?" I just looked at my opponent like he grew a second head. Suddenly I realized that my arm was pinned to the table. No. I lost. A fucking food question caught me off guard. ᴰᴗ, the oblivious pup, didn't realize that he won, and he asked me again. I said, "Do you like hot soba noodles?" I answered truthfully. "I don't mind them, however I personally prefer spicy ramen." I swiftly turned into my ⴰ form and slid my hand out from underneath my victorious brother's hand. ᴰᴗ then asked me, "Why do you hate your own humanity, ᴰᴗ? Like I didn't notice while fighting against you, but I tell you that my mind actually shapeshifted into something else while in this 괱ᴇᴘᴛᴏ form. Is this the nature of a 괱ᴇᴘᴛᴏ? Something so inhuman and yet so deeply part human in its core? Why chose to be a 괱ᴇᴘᴛᴏ kid?" I told ᴰᴗ in a bitter and hollow voice. "Humans suck, that's why. Now stay in your 괱ᴇᴘᴛᴏ form and never escape from it. Don't worry, fleas won't bite you like a dog. There's perks to a 괱ᴇᴘᴛᴏ form, you know, sniffing the ground, scratching your ear with your foot, chasing your tail, running around on all fours, and other fun shit like that." ᴰᴗ. Suddenly a absolutely apeshit voice screamed at ᴰᴗ. "Imagine being human again! That's all you need to do, Todoroki Keiyuen! I snarled wickedly at ᴘᴘ as he turned into his loathsome true human form with his heterochromic hair that was shorter, and he had no dog ears or tail. ᴘᴘ thanked ᴜᴘ under his breath. ᴘᴘ blurted out something that he heard ᴜᴘ say to him. It's your power, is it not? Not your father's or mom's. It's your power, and you chose to be your Quirk's bullcrap. I growled and told ᴘᴘ. Why do you think I got ᴅᴇʟᴟ before? I used to have self-loathing of my powers because I was deemed a failure. The secret to my sanity from Quirk madness in my Hayasha Quirk was literally stop your self-hatred about your Quirk's power, and I got sane whenever I embraced it. ᴘᴘ barked back with a question. Then why do you hate your own humanity then, if that was the secret to your own sanity? I just warped away, not even bothering to answer the pup. ᴜᴘ was going to have the biggest scandal in his life thus far and forever. Because ᴘᴘ Todoroki's dad had a fucking secret love child 16 to 17 years ago, and 괉ᴱ was the result that boomeranged ᴘᴘ's dad's head during the sports festival. Like you don't need a paternity test to see that 괉ᴱ was literally teenage endeavor but with claws and elongated fangs. However, of course, ᴘᴘ's dad was digging himself into a bigger hole by demanding a paternity test like that wouldn't guarantee the results that he already knows. Like the moment ᴘᴘ's dad saw true form 괉ᴱ, he was expecting it, and planning to make 괉ᴱ endure hell on earth for training to beat the beast out of him on the sidelines. ᴘᴘ sure enough saw a news channel at home say the not-so-shocking news of the following headline. Claims true. ᴉᴘ Nensho is right, son of Endeavor revealed. ᴘᴘ saw Fuyumi set up the table for everyone else to eat, including an extra seat for someone else. ᴘᴘ asked Fuyumi who the other person will be. Fuyumi nervously replied. Why our half-brother 괉ᴘ, of course. He's coming to visit us. I wonder what Ms. Nensho is like, because clearly some connection must have been made for this lady to have a romance with our father. I'm going to ask 괉ᴘ about his MOM. Big brother Natsuo came into the room absolutely ecstatic with some clothes that were too small for him, that was mainly goofy t-shirts and other nerdy stuff like that. Natsuo spoke with a friendly voice towards ᴘᴘ and Fuyumi. I can't believe it! A new brother! I wish Tuya could have seen this day. I'm so excited to meet 괉ᴘ. Sure enough, 괉ᴘ Nensho was at the doorstep and Fuyumi answered the door, and 괉ᴘ was in his Hayasha/dog de yokai Hanayo form with inky black hair that went down to his waist, clawed hands, elongated fangs, cool turquoise blue markings on his cheekbones that ᴘᴘ learned was called inu-irasumi markings, and pointed dog ears on top of his head. 괉ᴘ looked understandably uncomfortable as he sat down at his place at the table. Luckily, Endeavor was too busy with the news reporters to come home tonight. Fuyumi reassured 괉ᴘ. Well, don't worry about our father coming home tonight because he had to deal with a lot of news reporters that's covering the news story. 괉ᴘ visibly relaxed, and he said in a respectful manner to Fuyumi. Look, sister, my mother is a dog de yokai/fire/strength enhancing/speedster/warping/telepath quirk welder woman, and I inherited a combination of my mom's powers and our dad's powers. Our brother, ᴘᴘ, is a bilateral chimera true dud. What this means is that he was born a chimera of his own twin brother that fused with his twin, and their quirks merged into a single quirk that always mutated into something completely different in every single case of bilateral chimera true dud children. I don't know everything, but I recognize a fellow dog de yokai Hanayo quirk welder kid when I smell them. Our father visited me from time to time, not knowing that I inherited everything from both sides of my family, and my MOM helped me conceal my quirk's bullcrap for years. The only thing that our father knew was that I was a dog de yokai Hanayo quirk welder kid, and that's it. I had to wait until I was strong enough to handle brutal training from Endeavor before I revealed my lineage and true powers to Endeavor and the rest of the world. My MOM gave me no delusions of our dad's character. Damn. I had to wait until I was strong enough to handle brutal training from Endeavor before I revealed my lineage and true powers to Endeavor and the rest of the world. However, Fuyumi asked 괉ᴘ. Obviously your MOM woke up to the true nature of our father, but what did she fall in love with? So much where she was willing to have an affair with our father. 괰ᴱ spoke with a somber voice towards all of his siblings. My mom fell in love with a charming and protective man who spoiled her rotten with flowers and gifts. My mom told our father a ultimatum. If you want to be with me, stop this Quirk marriage union nonsense forever, otherwise I will reveal you as a philanderer and expose the truth about Tuya Todoroki's death. Something that our father did, swore an oath and wrote down in writing, and he didn't do Quirk marriage shit ever again as far as I know. Over the years, my mom lost the rose-colored glasses about our father the more he visited me and deemed me a failure. Shudo had just thought that his father just didn't need more kids, with his success born in Shudo. No, Ike was this oath that Ms. Nensho forced Shudo's father to make in order to successfully woo her. Shudo saw 괰ᴱ slurping hot soba noodles and they continued dinner while chatting about their lives. 9 p.m. Dark laughing. Tuya Todoroki aka Dabi chuckled like a man in his hideout as he saw news footage of the 괰ᴱ Nensho vs. Shudo Todoroki fight. Tuya muttered darkly to himself. The bastard, what a great kid, our own fuckwad of a sperm donor can't even control his own dick. Bet you there's more endeavor bastard pups, as 괰ᴱ so lovingly called it. So far anyways, all 19 people that Tuya murdered was true scumbags, and genuine villains and villainesses. Thus far, the bullshit Public Safety Commission and the pro-heroes and heroines call DBI a fucking vigilante. Thus being borderline legal, because a vigilante can become a pro-hero or heroine. Change of plans, time to ramp up the vigilante bullshit even if that means putting a target on Tuya's head. Time for the past to continue fucking haunting endeavor. Let's go dance in hell, father. Tuya turned off the TV and went apeshit by saving civilians and fighting against thugs brutally. 2 hours later. Tuya saw a bunch of news helicopters above him, and he adored the audience, as even the shamed dipshit, Endeavor Fuckwad himself showed up. Tuya shouted towards Endeavor Fuckwad. Why shouldn't you run away to your sluts that only fall in love with the glitz and glamour of your flames like a arsonist likes their fires? Which slut are you with this time? I know that you found dogs to be hot under the collar. Did Ms. Nensho put a fire under you for once in your sex life? Was Ms. Nensho your first, or was she just a sap that you seduced? Little bitches ⴁ Todoroki. Endeavor Fuckwad cracked his knuckles and said to Tuya. DBI, I don't think that this was a appropriate thing to talk about, Tuya told Endeavor Fuckwad while interrupting him. Why, ashamed of the consequences of your actions coming to bite your ass. 괰ᴱ is a great and apeshit kid. Oh, there's many stories that will continue haunting you. 괰ᴱ is just the first. Also call me something else. How about Ichihai for now? 1 Ash. Makes sense because Tuya is the firstborn and he had a ashy half-brother. Tuya blasted off the building and went into hiding again. Natsuo POV. Well, it's official. Ichihai is a vigilante dude. Of course, the first thing that Ichihai would do is heckle Endeavor Fuckwad. And for good reason too. At least Ichihai found little brother 괰ᴱ to be a great and apeshit kid. Natsuo saw 괰ᴱ slurping hot soba noodles like it was his job, and he was on his 10th bowl of food, which was absolutely stunning. Natsuo hung out with his new family member and tried to act casual, even though Natsuo was worried about 괰ᴱ being strong enough to handle Endeavor training. 괰ᴱ Nensho warped home to his house in Nashibura City and stepped out of a portal made of smoke in his Hayasha/dog Deyokai Hanayo form, obviously. 괰ᴱ's mom was in her dog Deyokai/Inu no Ayashi form and had inky black hair that went down to her waist, clawed hands, elongated fangs, dark blue Inuiresumi markings on her face, arms and legs, yellow eyes, elfin ears, and a dark blue Inamoko, which is like a bunch of heteromorphic fur which can come in a variety of colors and shapes, and in 괰ᴱ's mom's case her Inamoko was like a cape that trailed behind her back and it split in half whenever it got to her tailbone, and it was several feet long. 괰ᴱ's mom then turned into her true human form, which was a black-haired lady with gray eyes, but she had claws on her hands from Deyokai scarring, which mutated her body slightly like how ᴰᴜ got slightly mutated from being in his dog 괰ᴄᴟᴏ form that's immune to transformation straining. ᴰᴜ's mom looked like she just got home from work as a nurse in a mental hospital. ᴰᴜ's mom, Ayashi Nensho, spoke with a gentle voice. How was visiting with your siblings? Did they treat you poorly? ᴰᴜ spoke with a soft and somber voice towards his mom. My siblings are nice, they treated me well. There's just one thing that kept rattling my head. ᴜᴜ, the true dud puppy, said this. Why do you have self-loathing for your own humanity if the secret to your own sanity was embracing your quirk? But the Hayasha quirk wanted me to embrace it, not humanity, and I did. Why, I'm free from quirk madness in my Hayasha quirk forever. Like I used to loathe the dog ᴄᴟᴏ demon because my fucking dickbag father called me the dog 괰ᴄᴟᴏ demon failure for most of my life. My quirk madness was awful. I was thinking that I was born a dog 괰ᴟᴏ with a quirk that's very, very, very dog 괰ᴟ blood thick, which doesn't exist because yokai, 괰ᴟ, and ᴄᴟ quirks are based on fiction like dragon quirks. Like you know exactly what kind of hardcore and dark things I did during 3 years of Hayasha quirk madness, so much that we had to live in a fucking culture where that dark shit was normal and mundane because everyone else had fucking 괰ᴟ and ᴄᴟ quirks there. I know what I am, a loathsome human being who had thankfully a dog 괰ᴟ quirk and could escape from the loathsome humanity. Like that culture, Yoki culture called me a undying ᴄᴟ after I conquered my new moon weakness that forced me into my true loathsome human form for the night during the new moon because they were cool badasses about titles and shit. My father never knew that I was quirk manin for years, nor about this Japanese subculture with their cool clothing, weapons, armor and names for shit. Like that culture gave me the name Hayasha as a honor and title. Why should I love humanity because most humans suck ass? ᴰᴜ's mom just hugged him and said, My son, I know this, but you should answer Shudo Todoroki's question just like that. You might find comfort in knowing a fellow dog 괰ᴟ quirk welder kid's opinion on this topic. ᴰᴜ spoke with a honest confession. I telepathically projected my conversation with you to my siblings, but not endeavor fuckwipe in real time because I don't like to waste words or repeat them. Shuto POV. Telepathic powers are bizarre as fuck. Like Fuyumi, Natsuo, and Shudo himself got that conversation, like they were standing in the living room with Ms. Ayashi Nensho and ᴰᴜ. What a awful thing to think about yourself during your quirk madness. My quirk madness was awful. I was thinking that I was born a dog 괰ᴟ with a quirk that's very, very, very dog 괰ᴟ blood thick, which doesn't exist because yokai, 괰ᴟ, and ᴄᴟ quirks are based on fiction like dragon quirks. And this self-loathing bullshit. I know what I am, a loathsome human being who had thankfully a dog 괰ᴟ quirk and could escape from the loathsome humanity. Like Shudo. Lost the will to fight. During the sports festival after his mentally exhausting and emotional roller coaster after fighting against Midoriya and especially ᴰᴜ's fight. Shudo wished he knew ᴰᴜ sooner in his life instead of being bombarded with this new information during the sports festival today. Also, Yoki culture seems to be really cool if ᴰᴜ was given his own quirk's name as a honorary title. Honestly, no wonder why ᴰᴜ would have this self-loathing logic behind his own reasonings if he saw Endeavor fuckwipe as human, and that was a flammable piece of garbage. Like there's needs to be like hope for humanity. For Shuto's slightly older half-brother ᴰᴜ. Shuto was in his room, alone with his thoughts and tired. Shuto should visit mom. Shuto fell asleep slowly and steadily. 4 hours later. 3 a.m. Shudo Todoroki was peacefully sleeping in his bed. The shadow of Hayasha's past dream. Shuto was awkwardly sitting in a chair, as he saw a very grumpy red-haired boy with turquoise blue eyes, but they had dark red pupils with the same bulky muscular body type like Shuto's dad, but he had claws on his hands and elongated fangs instead of regular canine teeth, and he was wearing some really cool red robes that looked identical to color and design of Inuyasha, the character from the anime and manga of the same name, ᴰᴜ. Sure enough, ᴰᴜ spoke with a irritated and sharp voice towards his mom. Why should we live with a bunch of humans whenever I'm a far superior dog 괱ᴇᴜᴜ demon with a fire/ash/warping/telepath/speedster/strength-enhancing quirk? Also, I hate this bullshit new moon that reverted me to my human disguise form that's immune to transformation straining. If I eat enough raw hearts of malice, I will become undying, whatever that means, but I do know that undying means a Hanio demon that beat their human status weakness permanently. Something I will become so I would never have to be in my human disguise form that's just like my human half-side and shape ever again. Ms. Nensho spoke with a slightly nervous voice towards Hellfire. Your father is getting anxious to see you. For 3 years I have been trying to hide your quirk madness nonsense while staying close enough to your father without him getting suspicious, but my excuses aren't working anymore. You must embrace your dog 괱ᴜᴜ quirk's nature because you are still calling yourself a demon and rejecting that. All you need to do now is say, I vow to never again call myself a demon, and you should break quirk madness in your Hayasha quirk. Ḥedo spoke with a deep and powerful canine-like voice towards his MOM. I vow to never again call myself a demon forever. Why do I need this self-loathing shit anyways? All the other Hanio do this stuff if they were very 괱ᴜᴜ blood thick like me. Suddenly the red light in Heto's pupils became a human black. Heto visibly relaxed, and he took a deep breath like he didn't breathe for years and said, I'm so sorry for dehumanizing you for years by calling you a dog 괱ᴜᴜ monster MOM. I know what I am now, human. Loathsomely fully human, but with a dog 괱ᴜᴜ quirk. I will continue to hunt until I beat this new moon weakness permanently. I know that I have the same mental health safeguards to do those dark and inhuman things as before, but now there's sanity behind it. This will be my last new moon when I am forced to be human. Ḥedo didn't know if he should cry or be happy about seeing this memory. The voice of Ms. Ayashi Nensho spoke with a friendly but somber manner in Ḥedo's mind. I'm showing you and your siblings this dream and my memory of these events, Ḥedo Todoroki, because I want you and your siblings to break this awful self-loathing in your half-brother and my son. The root problem of the Hayasha quirk madness was still unresolved, but instead of hating the quirk, it's hating the humanity in Ḥedo. I just got a message from Enizu saying that due to the extreme power of Ḥedo as well as outside pressure from some influential sources like your father, Ḥedo starting tomorrow morning will replace a boy named Minoru Mineta as a Class 1A student so you can influence your brother the best, Ḥedo Todoroki. Yes, fucking Mineta is gone. Ḥedo told Ms. Nensho. Don't worry, ma'am. I will teach Ḥedo how to embrace his own humanity again because I have good friends in my class, who are examples of good humanity instead of bad. Ḥedo's dream melted into darkness like a connection was cut. The shadow of Hayasha's past dream ended. Ḥedo woke up in a cold sweat. Ḥedo was awkwardly sitting in his bed like a dog and he saw the beautiful full moon outside. Ḥedo turned into his dog 괱ᴜᴜ form. The strawberry pink hair that went down to Ḥedo's waist, clawed hands, elongated fangs, pointed pink dog ears on top of his head, and a pink dog's tail returned. Ḥedo should name his dog 괱ᴜᴜ form some cool something with the yasha at the end of it. Suki or moon. Tsukiyasha. The Tsukiyasha form. Ḥedo turned back to his regular human self, but he couldn't sleep again. 7 a.m. Ḥedo Nensho didn't dare show his nervousness as he was introduced to his new classmates in Class 1A. Ḥedo sat down in an empty desk after watching some girl with some cool quirk that he didn't know clean his desk from pervert germs. Even though Ḥedo didn't know the kid he replaced, he did know this dude was an insufferable pervert towards the girls. God, humans are a waste of space sometimes. Ḥedo sniffed the air in his Hayasha/dog 괱ᴜᴜ form and smelled the stench of decaying blood from a girl with brown hair and brown eyes with toe beans, like a cat on her fingertips. Yes. Ḥedo has just the tool needed for this particular situation. Ḥedo grabbed some pads for periods from his handbag and threw it as hard as possible to the girl with brown hair and brown eyes, and she immediately started crying in joy and said to her classmates, This is heaven. Shit dog dork replaced a great fuck who apparently had a sixth sense when a girl might need some pads or tampons because I was actually running out of pads in my handbag. I want to befriend your brother Todoroki Kun. Your brother is amazing compared to the great fuck. Shuto smiled ever so slightly, but he looked so tired. Ḥeito saw Katsuki Bakugo, the winner of the sports festival, seething in irritation, and Ḥeito spoke telepathically to Katsuki Bakugo. My brother did you a dirty in that fight. I would have never fucking hesitated against you because you deserve that respect in combat. Katsuki Bakugo, your treatment afterwards, being chained up like that was absolutely appalling. Like these people didn't know that you had fucking suffocation tremua from the slime villain with that muzzle on your face. Like this is why I hate humans and my loathsome true human form. They don't play fair or fight with manners like animals. I hunt from time to time and I know how to kill for food. If you were a fucking villain or something similar during the sports festival, my true dud pup half-brother Shuto would have fucking died from his own hesitancy against you. Katsuki Bakugo. Katsuki Bakugo immediately turned to face Ḥeito and he mouthed the words, "Thank you," to Ḥeito. Ḥeito twitched his dog ears and replied to Katsuki Bakugo. Aizawa-sensei told the class about hero names and the internships with pro-heroic agencies. Everyone was given a small blackboard and a black marker to write on it. Ḥeito was unnerved by one dark blue-haired boy with red eyes that had engines on his calves. Bloodlust and quiet malice. Ḥeito twitched his dog ears nervously, but he telepathically asked this kid, "Hey, what's the matter? What's your name?" The blue-haired and dark red-eyed boy spoke with his thoughts to Ḥeito. "My name is ᴄᴟ and your class president Nensho Kun. You shouldn't be using your quirk's power in class at all." Then the voice of ᴄᴟ got real quiet in his mind towards Ḥeito. "My brother, he got hurt by Stain, the hero killer. I'm going to intern in Chosu City, where Stain likes to hang out. I'm going to kill him." Ḥeito spoke with a somber and honest voice telepathically towards ᴄᴟ. "I was insane, you know. I referenced to it during my fight against the Todoroki pup. During that madness I killed many people, some deserving and some not deserving. ᴄᴟ. I am fortunate that I have quirk instincts and natures in my Hayasha quirk that only made blood, you know, a beautiful and wonderful thing. Why, it infuriated me to no end to see a legally insane girl named Himiko Toga in her blood-based quirk be called a child villainous. I had a culture that understood my mental health that I lived in for years during my quirk madness. ᴄᴟ, I know what malice is and you have it. I can only give you a small comfort. Fate always rights itself. Stain, the hero killer, will be punished for his wickedness, but he must fall into his own fate by his own folly. Don't do this alone. I will intern with you." ᴄᴟ started crying and he mouthed to Ḥeito the words, "Thank you." Aizawa POV. So Aizawa had to get a telepath quirk scanner to listen to any and all telepath quirk use signals, because Aizawa now had a telepath quirk welder kid in his class, and good God, what a great kid that Ḥeito Nensho actually is. All Aizawa could hear was Ḥeito Nensho's parts. But God, it was so fucking meaningful. Comforting both Katsuki Bakugo and ᴄᴟ by baring his fucking soul to them. Also, every single doctor on the planet has been absolutely apeshit about the Himiko Toga villainous classification in Japan, and no wonder why, if it was clear to a sane kid who had the same exact mental insanity as Himiko Toga does currently. Like Ḥeito Nensho said this to ᴄᴟ about having blood-based quirk welder instincts and natures in his Hayasha quirk. "I am fortunate that I have quirk instincts and natures in my Hayasha quirk that only made blood, you know, a beautiful and wonderful thing. Why, it infuriated me to no end to see a legally insane girl named Himiko Toga in her blood-based quirk be called a child villainous. That classification needs to fucking change immediately." Suddenly and abruptly, Ḥeito Nensho projected Aizawa's thoughts to people, the entire planet, with the force of telepathic power. Aizawa glared at Ḥeito Nensho and told him not to use his telepath quirk powers. Ḥeito Nensho said yes sir in reply. Himiko POV. Himiko Toga was so validated. Himiko never encountered a boy who saw blood as pretty before. Ḥeito Nensho, the bastard kid of Endeavor. Clearly like everyone else, Ḥeito-kun believed that Himiko was nuts, but she just stopped giving a shit about what's society's normal, because her normal, was beautiful and truly wonderful. Like Himiko absolutely hated masking to be normal, she actually got sick before she actually tasted human blood for the first time, a little while back whenever she was in the 3rd year of middle school. It was a massive relief to finally taste blood from humanity. Himiko Toga skipped in joy through the alleyways of Nashibara City to head to Hosa's City. Heito POV. You know that chill you have whenever someone else mentioned you? Yeah, it gets so much worse whenever you're a telepath quirk welder kid and a undying Hanayo quirk welder kid among other things. Immediately after Heito projected Aizawa sensei's thoughts about Himiko Toga, Heito sensed Himiko Toga herself thinking about him. Heito twitched his dog ears nervously, but he saw his blank board and he had an easy name for a pro hero. Hayasha, the Ashi Hanayo hero. Heito wrote his new pro hero name down. Heito presented his pro hero name to the class, and the class cheered wildly for the name that Heito chosen. Tenya Ida looked at Heito Nensho aka Hayasha and saw his pro hero costume for the first time. Beautiful gold robes that looked identical to Inuyasha, the character's iconic clothes but gold instead of red. A beautiful and ornate gray armored breastplate and left shoulder guard, and Heito Nensho aka Hayasha was barefoot, which didn't seem like it was wise for a pro hero. Heito Nensho was in his Hayasha/dog de yokai Hanayo form in his typical appearance, inky black hair that went down to his waist, clawed hands, elongated fangs, pointed black dog ears on top of his head, and 2 turquoise-blue Inuai markings on his cheekbones. Both Tenya and Heito Nensho were in Hosa's City with the pro hero named Manuel. It's eerie how easily Heito Nensho agreed to help in a murder of a supervillain, but still a murder no less. Then again, Heito Nensho aka Hayasha did say that he killed a lot of people. Heito Nensho was sniffing the ground like a dog and he said to Tenya, "Focus, Tenya Ida. I'm following the stench of blood and steel. Follow me." Heito Nensho leaped through the air and flew gracefully as Tenya ran behind his new classmate Heito Nensho. Just how powerful is a dog de yokai Hanayo quirk? Tenya needs to research that later. Tenya and Heito Nensho aka Hayasha ran/flew through Hosa City. 1 hour later. 10 p.m. Heito Nensho landed on the ground beside Tenya and he telepathically spoke with a raspy and sharp voice. "Stain is in this alleyway. Let's go stop him." Tenya gulped nervously, but he steeled his nerves and he and Heito Nensho walked into the alleyway and saw Stain, the hero killer, about to murder a pro hero named Native. Tenya and Heito Nensho charged in unison. 1 hour later. 11 p.m. Tenya Ida and Heito Nensho was defeated. Neither Tenya or Heito Nensho could move with the paralysis effect of the blood-curdled quirk. Suddenly Izuku Midoriya appeared and punched Stain so hard. Heito Nensho leaped up and snarled wickedly at Stain. Tenya still couldn't move. Tenya saw that Heito Nensho's stab wound on his right hand had completely healed up at superhuman speeds. Heito POV. Stain, the hero killer, spoke with a disdainful and bitter voice towards Heito. "So Tenya Ida dragged you along in this quest of vengeance, to be his attack dog? All you'll ever be is Endeavor's bastard pup Heito Nensho. You're not even human most of the time, a dog de yokai Hanayo demon instead of a man." Heito spoke with a sharp and canine-like voice towards Stain. "Look here, dipshit, I have killed stronger and more violent assholes while I was quirk man, and by my Hayasha quirk, you don't scare me." Heito twitched one of his dog ears whenever he saw Izuku Midoriya discreetly put out a mass text with just his location to everyone else in class. Heito spoke telepathically towards Shuto. "Shuto, I know that you were in Ō City. Izuku Midoriya and Tenya Ida needs help. Hurry up, slowpoke." Heito cut the telepath connection. Heito used blue fire to make Stain keep his distance. Heito told Tenya that he had to get Native to safety. Heito grabbed Native in his arms and flew away from the fight just as Shuto swiftly appeared. Heito heard Stain say with his superhuman hearing, "The dog demon kid is a true hero, I have to give him that." Like Heito needs your opinion on what was A true hero. You hypocrite Stain. Ḥeito landed beside some cops and they immediately started calling for backup as they saw a native bleeding. Ḥeito was about to fly away but he saw 괡ᴇʟᴜ, watching him from a different alleyway, but she didn't know that he noticed her. Ḥeito's gold robes of the fire rat were covered in blood and he was still beat up by Stain even though he healed up quickly. The cops told Ḥeito to stay there and answer questions. Ḥeito begrudgingly turned and answered all their questions. Himiko POV. Ḥeito-kun is more beautiful in person than on TV. Those beautiful gold robes covered in beautiful and glossy blood, those shining turquoise blue eyes that had a sharp edge to them like Ḥeito-kun killed before, those wickedly sharp claws that were flecked with blood, and those adorable little dog ears on Ḥeito-kun's head. No wonder why Ḥeito-kun believed that humanity was a loathsome thing. If he couldn't show his normal to people without being called a demon. What Ḥeito-kun needs is a little support to embrace his own version of normal. Himiko blushed deeply. Oh, that image of Ḥeito-kun wearing his gold robes covered in beautiful blood will haunt Himiko's sex dreams definitely. Since the closest thing to Ḥeito-kun's normal was pro-heroic work, Himiko will from now on be a vigilante girl to support Ḥeito-kun since Ḥeito-kun did force the Public Safety Commission to change Himiko's classification from child villainous to Quirk Madden/legally insane person. Himiko continued walking through Hosa's city and unfortunately away from Ḥeito-kun to find a place to sleep, which should be much easier now that she wasn't called a villainess. After some stupid lecture from some heteromorphic dog Quirk welder police chief, Shuto Todoroki and his friends were recovering in the hospital. Shuto saw Ḥeito walk into the room and he sat down on a chair beside Shuto's hospital bed. Ḥeito was wearing a red shirt and jeans while being barefoot as he was sitting like a dog in the chair. Shuto saw Aizawa-sensei walk into the room. Ḥeito looked at Shuto with a tired look in his turquoise blue eyes. Ḥeito spoke telepathically towards Shuto in a sharp and sandpapery voice. You know, Shuto, Stain called me a dog demon while calling me a true hero in the same breath. Shuto spoke out loud to Ḥeito. You know that you can speak to me about stuff without telepathy, Ḥeito. Ḥeito spoke out loud in a tired but stern voice towards Shuto. Listen, pup, our father is a dipshit. Why did you intern with him? Shuto told Ḥeito. I was just using him to be the best pro-hero I could be. Why did you intern with ᴘᴄ-ᴟᴟ? ᴘᴄ-ᴟᴟ looked so guilty for some reason. Ḥeito spoke with a somber voice towards Shuto. Because ᴘᴄ-ᴟᴟ was going down a dark path and as a person who gone dark before, I could pull ᴘᴄ-ᴟᴟ out of his own darkness before it consumed him like it did me. Midoriya spoke to Ḥeito in a curious but slightly nervous voice. You knew that Ide-kun was going after Stain and yet you didn't stop him. Why? Ḥeito spoke with a darkened and calm voice towards Midoriya. Izuku Midoriya, don't you think that maybe just maybe some people have charcoal gray moralities instead of the idealistic black and white like you? However, I will tell you this. Fate always rights itself. I knew that Stain was going to be punished for his wickedness, but he had to fall into his own fate by his own folly. But ᴘᴄ-ᴟᴟ wanted to be judge and jury like a arrogant human who believed that he was never wrong, so I helped him instead of letting ᴘᴄ-ᴟᴟ die, because if he died, that death would be my fault because of inaction. Look, I have a friend who has a prophecy quirk, and she told me a lot about you, including the secrets of One for All, and she taught me great medical science. There's a lot of things I prevented by fighting against Stain here, Izuku Midoriya. One for all? What does that mean? However, Midoriya was beyond shocked by Ḥeito having information about One for All. Ḥeito spoke with a somber voice towards Aizawa-sensei, who up to this point was just listening to the conversation. Aizawa-sensei, I will gain new powers in my life. It's time for me. I don't know what these powers will be exactly, but it will make my Hayasha quirk unstealable because the artificiality will merge with my original quirk and make it more powerful while making sure I will never be powerless. I couldn't do this beforehand because you can't tangle up fate prematurely. Aizawa-sensei spoke with an alarmed voice towards Ḥeito. You're going through a quirk awakening? Do you know if this will be a healthy thing? Ḥeito nodded yes and said, These powers will be healthy by definition. My friend with a prophecy quirk has seen as much. ᴚᴚ POV. ᴚᴚ hated this absolute bullshit. Quirk awakenings can only come from severe mental or physical trauma. The person who was most traumatized by Stain was the kid having a quirk awakening after encountering him. Like ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ had killed people before, but he was a fucking quirk-maddened kid during that time. Maybe it was the temptation of blood that made ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ fight against Stain in the subconscious level. Like clearly ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ had something called ᴘᴏ instinctive personality and level of thought. In his Hayasha quirk as a broken and overpowered dog 괰ᴟ telepath warping strength enhancing speedster fire ash quirk welder kid. Aizawa had done his research into what a dog 괰ᴟ quirk madness looked like, and it was awful shit. A slightly delusional dehumanizing yourself into believing you're born a dog 괰ᴟ with a quirk that's very, 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 very dog 괰ᴟ blood thick, instead the truth of being a human being who had a dog 괰ᴟ quirk. For 3 years ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ had been quirk madden like this. Because he hated his own quirk's bullcrap. Now it's a fucking 180-degree turnaround, and now ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ hated his own humanity. And by God, it fucking hurts to see this self-loathing logic kept getting validation and more evidence to support it. With the people ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ kept fucking encountering. Aizawa called Recovery Girl to tell her about the impending quirk awakening bullshit in ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ. ᴘᴘ POV. ᴘᴘ scratched his dog ear with his foot like a dog and he warped away to his home. It started raining in Nashibura City where ᴘᴘ lived, and he walked into his room with his desk with a bunch of medical stuff to experiment with, and a bunch of rats to experiment on in cages behind him. ᴘᴘ locked the door to his room and shut the blinds. Thunder echoed across the sky as he mixed the fateful concoction with his own DNA and midorion combined to make a neon green medicine in a syringe. It's time for the multiple quirks era. However, this first artificial quirk that matches ᴘᴘ's mind, body, and soul permanently will merge with the Hayasha quirk in a healthy manner because his prophecy quirk welder friend told him this. ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ injected the glowing medicine into his veins. Immediately after all the medicine was in his body, ᴘᴘ felt new power. ᴘᴘ threw the used needle away. ᴘᴘ suddenly felt awareness of what he got. 1. Permanent human possession abilities. 2. Illusionary quirk abilities that last up to 8 hours. 3. Permanent enhancement of all the previous powers of the Hayasha quirk by 10 times. 4. Healing quirk abilities that can heal from your own wounds greater than most people or heal other people with a single touch. 5. Hardening quirk abilities, or the ability to make your skin hard like Ejiro Kirishima's aka Red Riot's quirk at the baseline strength. 6. Telekinetic powers, or again the ability to lift objects like a car with your mind. 7. Weather generation / manipulation abilities, or the ability to create tornadoes, rain, lightning bolts and clouds among other such things. 8. Blood sword creation, or the ability to create a sword made of blood without pain or bleeding prior to making the blood sword. ᴘᴘ twitched his dog ear nervously from his newfound powers he was just aware of. ᴘᴘ pulled out a blood bag for a kid that had blood-based quirk welder instincts and natures, and drank the blood until it was all gone and threw the empty blood bag in the trash. ᴘᴘ fell asleep in his bed. 12 p.m. ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ aka Hayasha was wearing his Yui high school uniform in his dog 괰ᴟ Hayasha form obviously, and he reported everything that he gained in his quirk awakening to Aizawa sensei that morning. 괰ᴟ looked so guilty whenever he saw ᴘᴘ slurping hot soba noodles with his brother Shuto. 괰ᴟ had changed his pro-hero name to be Ingenium, in honor of his brother. 괰ᴟ looked like he was avoiding ᴘᴘ because every time ᴘᴘ looked at 괰ᴟ, the other blue-haired boy would look away from ᴘᴘ. ᴘᴘ spoke to 괰ᴟ and everyone else at the table. You know, I would have gone to Stain all over again despite the incredible risks. I chose to help you out 괰ᴟ, I knew, months ago, I was going to fight against 괡ᴛ and gain new powers because of it due to the warnings of my prophecy ᴑᴇʟ friend. I'm not a fool, I knew what that meant and I embraced that. Don't blame yourself for my power. Tenya POV. Yeah, but Tenya was responsible for traumatizing you so much that you got a fucking quirk awakening ᴄᴏ. ᴄᴏ-kun spoke with a tired but stern voice out loud towards Tenya. The only thing that hurt me was the inability to move due to the blood curdle quirk and just lying there defenseless with 괡ᴛ's katana about to stab me in the heart right before ᴅᴇʟᴜ came out of nowhere to sucker punch 괡ᴛ. That brief moment of terror was probably what made me gain new powers in my Hayasha quirk. Look, whenever you were mostly in a 괰ᴜ form, you get targeted by all sorts of different types of people who felt justified to dehumanize you. Why 괡ᴛ moved to kill me first because all he would ever see me as is a attack dog or a dog demon. My dipshit father only saw me as a 괰ᴜ demon with potential nowadays. Over the years, I have read my father's mind and he rarely ever thought about me, just obsessing over his goal to become the #1 hero and beating All Might, but whenever he did think about the bastard kid, it was a bunch of bigoted shit. That's awful. That brief moment of terror was probably what made me gain new powers in my Hayasha quirk. Tenya asked out loud to ᴄᴏ, who was sitting across from ɪирᴛᴏ. ᴄᴏ, what is your Hayasha form like exactly? You say that it was a escape from loathsome humanity, but what do you mean by that? ᴄᴏ-kun spoke out loud with a sharp and sandpapery voice towards Tenya. A 괰ᴜ or Hanayo quirk has this power called a Yoki mind shift status transformation that's immune to transformation straining that actually shapeshifted your mind into a different thing, something very inhuman but had humanity in the core of its nature, like I can eat raw meat or something far darker that would make you vomit if I told you. ᴄᴏ-kun added with a darker tone of voice. I'm capable of drinking all your blood without being traumatized by it. In fact, I would enjoy it if I was insane from quirk madness, just like 괰ᴜᴜ. Tenya gulped nervously, but he knew about blood-based quirk welder instincts and natures, and knew that all dog 괰ᴜ quirks have these instincts in them. ᴜᴘ POV. ᴜᴘ didn't know how to show the goodness of humanity to his misanthropic half-brother ᴰᴜ. It's bad enough that 괡ᴛ dipshit traumatized ᴰᴜ so much that he had a quirk awakening from it, but the brief moment of terror that ᴰᴜ told Tenya Ida about was fucked. Today, everyone in class had gotten a lesson about quirk awakenings today whenever ᴰᴜ told Aizawa-sensei that he was going to get a quirk awakening last night from 괡ᴛ dipshit trauma. Just because you already had advanced warning from a prophecy quirk welder kit ahead of time didn't mean that you deserve this shit from 괡ᴛ ᴰᴜ. Changing the subject. ᴰᴜ now has a quirk that's stupidly powerful, as if his own quirk's bullcrap wasn't strong at the baseline strength. Permanent human possession abilities, weather manipulation, hardening shit like Ajiro Kirishima, telekinetic powers that can lift cars, illusionary shit that lasts 8 hours, cool healing shit, a blood sword, and of course a major permanent enhancement of all the powers of the original shit in the Hayasha quirk by 10 times. ᴰᴜ's dog ears twitched, and ᴜᴘ awkwardly played with his half-brother's black dog ears, and it was so soft. ᴰᴜ growled like an angry dog and said, If you want to touch dog 괰ᴜ ears, just turn into your superior dog 괰ᴜ form that's immune to transformation straining Todoroki pup. ᴜᴘ awkwardly let go of his brother's ears and apologized for bothering ᴰᴜ. Himiko POV. Himiko Toga was approached by a girl with frizzy red hair and beautifully red eyes like blood, and she was wearing a tie-dyed shirt and pants with paint stains on them. The pretty girl spoke with a friendly and gentle voice towards Himiko. My name is Renkin. I am a prophecy/warping/dog 괰ᴜ quirk welder girl. I had to find you, Himiko Toga, and give you some medicine because I saw terrible things would befall you and the people who you cared about if you didn't take this medicine. I saw the torture you endured from your parents in big air quotes in my eyes so you wouldn't care about them, but I don't mean them, I mean people like ᴰᴜ Nensho. This medicine will give you a new second quirk that matches your own mind, body, and soul permanently, and it would never be stolen from you, Himiko Toga. Himiko was nervous, but she knew that Rin-chan was telling her the truth about her powers and especially the medical stuff she had access to. The only person who can make Hato-kun bleed is Himiko herself, and no one else without being mauled by Himiko. Himiko was guided to a portal made of clouds that Rin-chan made, and Himiko and Rin-chan walked through the portal into a beautiful room that was bigger than a regular apartment, and there was art junk everywhere, and Himiko was most interested by a painting from the artist's own blood of a forest on fire with Hato-kun fighting against some dude who had a mask like a human hand. Rin-chan spoke fondly to Himiko like she was proud of this painting, as she should be if she used her own beautiful blood to paint it. "That's the very first thing I saw in my eyes whenever I was a little girl. That moment hasn't yet come to pass, but it will soon. I painted it in blood because I was just going through a morbid phase, but I'm glad you like it, Himiko Toga. This new quirk I will give you will be a bloody princess quirk. Like, even though I don't know all the abilities of this new quirk, I do know that you will have the power to eat people with the mental health safeguards in a 괱ᴟᴇ form. That's immune to transformation straining, Himiko Toga." Himiko asked Arian-chan. "Arian-chan, do all 괱ᴟᴇ quirks have the power to go full cannibal like your dog 괱ᴟᴇ quirk?" Rin-chan spoke with a sagely and casual voice towards Himiko. "Yes, all healthy 괱ᴟᴇ quirk welders can do this, as well as all healthy Hanayo quirk welders. Ḥeito-Nensho had devoured many people during his long quirk madness, and he eventually became immortal due to becoming a undying Shogun Hanayo quirk welder through this method. All 괱ᴟᴇ quirks have the power to become immortal or undying in the same exact manner as a Hanayo quirk welder. Through eating the hearts of villainous characters, I became a undying 괱ᴟᴇ quirk welder, so I can give guidance and healing to all that need it forever," Rin-chan added with a somber voice. "You cannot ever tell anybody that you have a second quirk, about artificial quirk creation, and about the dark bloody powers of a Hanayo or 괱ᴟᴇ quirk." Himiko told Rin-chan that she was ready for her bloody princess quirk, and Rin-chan took a strand of hair from Himiko's hair and mixed it with some medicine, and it started glowing neon green. Himiko giggled in joy as the medicine was injected in her arm. After Rin-chan threw away the needle, Himiko suddenly got awareness of what her new powers in her new quirk was. 1. A beautiful dog 괱ᴟᴇ transformation that's immune to transformation straining. 2. A knife made of blood that was painless to summon. 3. Telepathic communication and telekinetic powers that can lift cars with the mind. 4. Supersonic flight and running. 5. Permanent human possession abilities. 6. Enhanced senses and self-recovery abilities far greater than most people. 7. Warping quirk powers, can only go to places Himiko already been beforehand. Himiko asked Rin-chan, "Is it possible if you can help me from time to time? Like, I don't want to impose, but how can you get immortality without being detected, since casual cannibalism was unfortunately frowned upon in human society?" Rin-chan spoke with a friendly voice towards Himiko. But here's the thing, now it's time for Yoki culture to be fully revealed. Don't try to be subtle with your casual cannibalism, because no one can fucking punish a quirk man and girl whenever they were identified as quirk man, and by the Public Safety Commission. You were never subtle before. Just say you had a quirk awakening in your newly renamed Bloody Princess quirk that gave you a dog 괱ᴟᴇ quirk, among other things. You can always return here if you need to, Himiko Toga. Himiko hugged her new friend and thanked Rin-chan for the help. Himiko warped away to Nashibara City. It's been a week since the Stain incident. And good God, what a fucking nightmarish week it's been. Everyone is pants-shittingly terrified of Himiko Toga, and for good reasons. Izuku Midoriya aka Deku didn't have a clue what to even say about Himiko Toga's actual cannibal bullshit. Also, what makes this even more terrible is the fact that Himiko Toga clearly had some bullshit quirk awakening, and the fact that apparently if you eat a human being with Himiko Toga's quirk, she gained the ability to permanently transform into her cannibalism victims for as long as she needs to, and it's immune to transformation straining like Ḥeito-Nensho's Hayasha quirk. However, Himiko Toga always did her cannibal bullshit trauma in her humanoid dog 괱ᴟᴇ or non-human dog 괱ᴟᴇ forms that's immune to transformation straining because it's a healthy 괱ᴟᴇ quirk. The only person who wasn't remotely surprised by this bullshit was Ḥeito-Nensho, whose expectations for humanity is so low that he didn't even bat an eye whenever he heard about Toga the cannibal. However, despite the incredible terror that Himiko Toga and her quirk madness brings, there's legitimate hope for her rehabilitation if she could get medical attention from a mental health hospital that would help with quirk madness bullshit. Because she's actually showing restraint nowadays, even though her bloody princess quirk madness bullshit got worse. Like before, Himiko Toga just killed whoever was unlucky to cross her path. Now Himiko Toga only killed villains and villainesses, or assholes, in a violent manner, and she only ate villainous people, because Himiko Toga has this fucking theory that if she ate enough villainous dipshits, she would become fucking immortal. Like vitality quirks or quirks that have very powerful lifespans exist, but straight up immortality, no. Izuku's thoughts were immediately projected to the world by ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ in a polite manner. Aizawa-sensei immediately scolded ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ for using his telepath powers in class. Aizawa-sensei told people about the exams. Everyone else was surprised by ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ suddenly blurting out loud, "Listen, girl, you can't just constantly flirt with me using your telepath communication powers, and you're fucking insane." Horrifyingly enough, the echoing and feverishly excited voice of Himiko Toga telepathically spoke to ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ like she wasn't aware that everyone else was listening to this conversation. "Come on, ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ, I know that you were a undying Shogun Hanyo Quirk Welder kid and how you did that beautiful crap. Let's go hang out together. I know that the beach is pretty this time of year. I'm just living in my normal instead of human society's normal ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ. Do you know how hard it was to not drink blood for years? Renchan called this torture ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ. She was the first one who validated my pain there. I know that you know about Renchan because she told me about you, ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ. I saw you in ᴘᴘ City, all bloody and in those beautiful gold robes, ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ." Everyone else heard the telepath words of ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ and replied to Himiko Toga, "You know that's called quirkside trauma, and God, it makes your own quirk man and bullshit so much worse, and there's such things as positive quirk awakenings, and the fact that Renkin Tenkamaru and our mutual prophecy spewing friend validated your pain and immediately afterwards you got a quirk awakening is beautiful and truly tragic, Himiko Toga. Because it tells me that you honestly don't know to be a functional person in society without traumatizing yourself. I have a blood-based quirk now with my ability to create a sword made of blood, but I always had blood-based quirk welder instincts and natures in my Hayasha/dog de yokai Hanyo form that's immune to transformation straining. I can teach you how to fucking function in polite society without traumatizing yourself or others, Himiko Toga. Quirk madness specialists can fucking help you too because you have the ability to restrain yourself in a healthy manner nowadays, Himiko Toga." Himiko Toga's voice suddenly became slightly irritated and sharp as she told ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ with telepath powers, "You mischievous boy, having fun with giving an audience to our private conversation? However, why would you want to function in this rotten and fucked society? However, this chat would continue when I know that you were alone, ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ." The noise of static echoed in everyone's minds like a connection was cut off. Aizawa-sensei asked ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ, "How long has Himiko Toga been communicating with you?" ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ spoke with a rough voice towards Aizawa-sensei. "Aizawa, sir, I have been graced with Himiko Toga's voice in my mind ever since her quirk awakening a week ago. She likes me romantically. It makes sense since she's a dog de yokai quirk welder kid and a quirk man and one to boot. However, I knew that if others knew Himiko Toga's actual crush on me, they would either attack me to lure out Himiko Toga or they would try to manipulate me into luring Himiko Toga into a trap as sex bait. It's against my morality to manipulate a legally insane person who genuinely likes me romantically in a madness distorted and slightly instinctive way, as Himiko Toga clearly had a OMMI instinctive personality and level of thinking in her bloody princess quirk," Izuku told ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ. "That's very chivalrous of you, ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ. Like drinking the respect women juice right there." ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ smiled smugly whenever he got the compliment. Himiko POV. Himiko had to continue eavesdropping on Ḥeito-kun's class, and God bless Ḥeito-kun being such a prince about his character. Himiko was in the hallways of Yue High School in the form of some black-haired and purple-eyed girl that was secretly a supervillainess named rose quartz. But Himiko kidnapped her, and then ate rose quartz, gaining her physical form permanently in Himiko's transformed quirk. Like, thanks goodness that rose quartz was an orphan and didn't have parents that would have been looking for her. It's a pain, being incognito in school again. However, one classmate of Himiko's in the support class with a bunch of techno geeks named ᴄᴏ-ᴟᴏ recognized that Himiko was bloodthirsty, and gave her a special device that gave Himiko beautiful blood to feed on in class without mauling people to get it. Technology came surprisingly easy to Himiko even though she had zero interest in it. Power Loader Sensei is supportive of Himiko. Apparently Power Loader Sensei told Principal Enizu something about Himiko, because Principal Enizu gave Himiko an apartment to live in free of charge and told Himiko earlier today. Now Ms. Himiko, I know that this sudden, but I sure hope that you will adapt to being in school in your current situation, and thank you for trusting me and other teachers in UA High School. Tomorrow morning you will be in Class 1.A where Eraserhead can teach you how to use your full powers in your quirk. Also thank you for quietly removing a threat to UA High School, Ms. Himiko. Principal Enizu is nice for a rat with a quirk. Himiko is so fucking excited to be in Heito-kun's class tomorrow. Aizawa POV. This is so fucking dangerous, Enizu, and you know it. Himiko Toga is a phantom student. Himiko Toga doesn't even know this. The Public Safety Commission knows exactly what Himiko Toga did to Himiko Himura aka Rose Quartz, to be close to Heito Nensho. All the teachers of UA were warned about Himiko Toga being a body snatcher to a former UA High School student / part-time supervillainess who's dead now by a prophecy quirk welder man named Sir Nightai several days ago. However, every single student of UA High School except for Himiko Toga was told the code word to describe quirk madness. A10-99. Shuto POV. Aizawa-sensei spoke to the class in an awkward voice. Listen class, you know the code 10-99? Yeah, well, you're going to get a new student from the support heroism class tomorrow named simply Himiko, no surname. She is a 10-99, but she genuinely believes that she was sane, so whenever you talk about Himiko's mental health, say 10-99, not fucking quirk madness in Himiko's presence. This was a dangerous situation that if Himiko knew that she was known to people, she would potentially kill people in fear or self-defense. Himiko is a blood-based /dog day yokai /telepath warping speedster quirk welder with unknown abilities. Please treat this girl with dignity and respect for her mental health. She might be a little OFF pudding, but please understand. Himiko is mentally ill and UA High School is fucking trying to rehabilitate her without her even realizing it, and if you say the thing, even though it would be more and more obvious who Himiko is the longer she was a Class 1.A student, it would absolutely jeopardize any and all chances of full rehabilitation from Himiko. Heito's dog ears nervously twitched, and he looked so irritated but relieved at the same time, like he knew who this Himiko girl was already. Shuto was awkwardly sitting in his desk. 7 a.m. Himiko Toga was so excited as she was humming in joy in her black-haired and purple-eyed disguise as she wrote her first name on the blackboard of Eraserhead Sensei's class, and Eraserhead introduced her to her classmates, and the only empty desk was unfortunately far away from Heito-kun, but near this cute brown-haired and brown-eyed girl named Yurarika Ochako, or Ochako-chan for short. Himiko sat down behind Ochako-chan and told Ochako-chan that she was excited for being a pro-heroine. Ochako-chan said she was supportive of Himiko. Himiko had learned that her dog de yokai forms non-human and humanoid would actually be disguised in hair color and eye color if she used her dog de yokai quirk crap to become immortal or undying in a disguise that's immune to transformation straining. However, Himiko's undisguised dog de yokai quirk forms had beautiful red eye and ui markings and a red scarf like Inomoko-like blood, while her humanoid dog de yokai's hair was yellow still, and she turned into a giant skyscraper-sized dog de yokai at the largest in her non-human dog de yokai form with gold fur and a red scarf like Inomoko on her neck. Himiko got ready to take notes as the class was about to do the written exams. Heito POV. What a dangerous gamble y'all are doing, UA teachers and Principal Enizu. If ᴘᴇᴘᴜ finds out what you are doing, she will go on a rampage. 괰ᴜ projected his thoughts to all the UA teachers and Principal ᴡᴇ. 괰ᴜ's dog ears nervously twitched as he saw the disguised ᴘᴇᴜᴜ wave hello to 괰ᴜ and subtly gave 괰ᴜ the fuck me eyes. 괰ᴜ spoke telepathically to ᴘᴇᴜᴜ. So, what are you going to do, new student? ᴘᴇᴜ, no surname. How about I give you a surname to call yourself, sound fair? The undisguised voice of ᴘᴇᴜ's actual thoughts, since it's impossible to disguise your telepath's signal or voice, spoke to 괰ᴜ. Oh, that sounds romantic. What should I call myself because my parents in big air quotes are absolute assholes? Something royal but bloody. Bees have a queen and they leave a nasty sting. 괰ᴜ spoke telepathically to ᴘᴇᴜ. You shall be forever called ᴘᴇᴜ. Hachibi means eight-tailed, but it also means in Yoki culture bee of blood, which is a lovely word in Yoki culture that means queen without being pretentious. ᴘᴇᴜ spoke telepathically towards 괰ᴜ. Ooh, flatter me, why don't you? I love it. For now on, call me ᴘᴇᴜ. 괰ᴜ cut off his telepath power. 괰ᴜ POV. So thank God that ᴰᴜ had a telepath Quirk scanner to listen to what the fuck was going on with ᴰᴜ and later ᴘᴜ, since he put in ᴘᴜ's telepath Quirk signals whenever ᴰᴜ caught those signals for the first time yesterday afternoon. Toga is a official dead name. Also, what on earth is Yoki culture? Thank God that ᴘᴜ and Hachibi is a ridiculously commonplace surname and first name combo. Toga was a rare surname. ᴰᴜ watched as his students worked on the written exams. 1 p.m. ᴰᴜ aka Hayasha was wearing his pro-hero costume, gold robes of the fire rat with a Yoki armor breastplate and left shoulder guard, while he was barefoot. ᴰᴜ saw ᴘᴜ wearing blood-red armor like an ancient Greek warrior, but she didn't have a helmet, and she was so excited being paired up with ᴰᴜ during the battle exams against the teacher. The teacher that was ᴰᴜ's and ᴘᴜ's opponent was named ᴜᴘ. Hound dog is a heteromorphic dog Quirk welder man with a keen sense of smell and hearing like ᴰᴜ himself. Hound dog is also the guidance counselor of UA High School, who ᴰᴜ was always at the counselor's office ever since the sports festival because Principal ᴡᴇ saw ᴰᴜ's views about his own humanity as very toxic for some indeterminate reason. ᴰᴜ hated humans. It's just how humanity constantly is a overwhelming disappointment, like ᴰᴜ's own existence came from a disappointing and scummy thing, like a man cheating on his wife to have a affair. More and more shit just proved the shittiness of humanity. The longer ᴰᴜ was alive. ᴰᴜ projected his thoughts to everyone in Class 1.A, and for damn good reason too. Rio POV. ᴰᴜ is such a rough case. ᴰᴜ aka Hound Dog. Hound Dog is a heteromorphic dog Quirk welder man with a keen sense of smell and hearing like myself. Hound Dog is also the guidance counselor of UA High School, who I was always at the counselor's office ever since the sports festival because Principal ᴡᴇ saw my views about my own humanity as very toxic. For some indeterminate reason. I hated humans. It's just how humanity constantly is a overwhelming disappointment, like my own existence came from a disappointing and scummy thing, like a man cheating on his wife to have a affair. More and more shit just proved the shittiness of humanity. The longer I was alive. The reason why you were paired up to fight against Rio himself along with ᴘᴜ was because you are such a great and empathic kid ᴰᴜ but distrusted most people because of something that they couldn't stop being, i.e., humans with human nature. It's bigotry, but you're not immune to your own bigoted logic because you were born human with a dog 괰ᴜ Quirk among other things ᴰᴜ. Why you have such damaging self-loathing logic behind you ᴰᴜ. Endeavor fucked up all his children in different ways, and there's probably more Endeavor bastards out there that he had. The fact you fought against so many people and murdered them during your 3 years of Quirk madness to get rid of the new moon weakness permanently through some sort of ritual so you wouldn't be forced to be human by your dog 괰ᴜ Quirk's bullcrap is beyond sad ᴰᴜ. Like ᴰᴜ's scarring, affects the mind as well as the body. ᴰᴛᴏ. You may have gained claws and fangs in your true human form, but it's your human mindset that's everyone is fucking worried about. ᴰᴛᴏ. Like you rarely call people, but rather, humans, in your train of thought and called your own true human form, you know. The loathsome true human skin. ᴰᴛᴏ. Ryo's thoughts were politely projected to everyone else in class 1.A, and the teachers by Himiko Hachibi. Himiko POV. This was ᴰᴛ's normal. Like Himiko has a dog de yokai quirk, and she knew the cool and bizarre mindset of a dog de yokai. Like if Himiko did cannibalism bullshit in her true human form, she would be severely traumatized by it. The humanoid dog de yokai or non-human dog de yokai forms have a yoki mind shift status transformation that's immune to transformation straining that allowed Himiko to do cannibalism shit without traumatizing herself and slowly transforming into a undying dog de yokai quirk welder girl by eating villains and villainesses. The whole immortality thing only worked whenever you eat hearts of malice. 10,000 in fact. Himiko projected her thoughts to everyone else in class 1.A and all the teachers. Izuku POV. Everyone else in class 1.A knew exactly who the fuck Himiko Hachibi is. Like at first, everyone just thought that Himiko, Toga, was just eavesdropping randomly in projecting hound dogs' thoughts to people. Then Himiko, Toga, said that immediately afterwards. Obviously, Himiko Toga is a actual dead name, so it would be absolutely inappropriate to call Himiko Hachibi that. Izuku Midoriya and Kaken got ready to fight All Might. ᴰᴛ POV. ᴰᴛᴏ aka Hayasha heard the bell ringing to start the match with Hound Dog. ᴰᴛ and Himiko realized very quickly that there's no way they could fight against Hound Dog and win. ᴰᴛ and Himiko flew away from Hound Dog, who was chasing them both, but they went through the gates that allowed them to pass the exams after disarming all the traps at the gates. A victory bell rang and an automated voice said, ᴰᴛᴏ and Himiko Hachibi wins, breaking the previous record by completion of the battle exams in less than 3 minutes. ᴰᴛ and Himiko landed on the ground and Himiko immediately crushed ᴰᴛ in a bear hug and she spun around while cheering in joy, but then she let go after she stopped spinning. ᴰᴛ told Himiko, Himiko Hachibi, you should ask other girls to fix your leia buns because you look like blonde Himiko, you know. Himiko told ᴰᴛ. Yeah, that's understandable. I never had friends to help me with my hair to teach me how to make flawless leia buns, but everyone else in class 1.A is nice, so they could help me out. The two of them started walking to watch their own classmates do their exams. 7 p.m. 3 days after the battle exams. ᴰᴛᴏ aka Hayasha and everyone else got off this bus that drove to the Pussycat Forests, or the Great Beast Forest. ᴰᴛ saw a black-haired boy with red eyes that was about 7 or 8 years old punch Izuku Midoriya in the dick, and ᴰᴛ smiled wickedly at the grim humor. The boy declared that all heroes were stupid. The boy's name was Koda. Koda walked over to ᴰᴛ and said, Why do you hang out with these losers? Like you're different than most hero wannabes. ᴰᴛᴏ, the moment you entered into the public eye you done nothing but tell the truth even though you hate humans and especially your own humanity. Tell me, what do you think about your class of losers? ᴰᴛᴏ. ᴰᴛ spoke with a sharp and sandpapery voice towards Koda. So far, they're very underwhelming. There's something that will happen though, a test of spirit and worthiness. I smell the stench of grief and sorrow on you, pup. Someone close to you died relatively recently, the root cause of your hatred of heroics. Koda looked at his shirt and sniffed it, but he didn't have the keen nose of ᴰᴛ's. But Koda looked at ᴰᴛ like he was stunned that ᴰᴛ could smell emotions. ᴰᴛ explained to Koda, Listen, pup, my nose can smell the chemicals in your sweat to identify certain emotions like anger, fear, sadness, happiness, and love. Pretty fascinating, right? Koda spoke with a slightly grossed-out voice. That's a gross power, ᴰᴛᴏ. Like, isn't your sense of smell like a double-edged sword? Like, what would happen if you got a whiff of something really gross like a stink bomb? ᴰᴛ spoke with a hoarse voice towards Koda. Well, every single quirk has weaknesses and strengths. I have fought against many foes that used that very tactic against me, but my claws can create great gusts to blow away unsavory smells. Izuku POV. That's a gross power. Izuku was so sore from lowball blow. But he wrote down this cool new fact about Heito Nensho's Hayasha Quirk in his notebook. Izuku couldn't help but be reminded of Kaken whenever he saw and heard Nensho-kun's general character. Polite knocking in Izuku's mind. Izuku whispered, "Come in." The undisguised voice of Himiko Hachibi spoke telepathically towards Izuku. Do you think that Himiko Toga is a bad person for embracing her normal, or do you think that Heito-kun is a bad person for embracing his normal Izuku Keien? Izuku told Himiko Hachibi in his mind. Well, Himiko Toga is Quirk maddened by her bloody Princess Quirk that scares people, but people now know she was a victim of ᴅᴇʟᴜ and had a understandably fucked up view of what normal behavior is because she never satisfied her own Quirk's bullcrap until she got Quirk maddened and actually fucking snapped. Like all I know about Nensho-kun's Quirk madness and his Hayasha Quirk was he was Quirk maddened for 3 years and he was self-loathing about his own Quirk's bullcrap because Endeavor Fuckwipe constantly called him a dog de yokai hanai demon failure. Like Himiko Toga isn't a bad person, just a pants-shittingly terrifying girl who was legally insane that's on this quest of immortality because of her theory that if she ate villainous characters, she would gain more power and vitality to the point of being immortal after gaining a dog de yokai quirk among other things from her bullshit quirk awakening that came from a tragic happiness because Aryan-chan or Renkin, a mysterious prophecy quirk welder girl, validated Himiko Toga's actual pain, and the first person to do that. Nensho-kun is sane, but his self-hatred is heartbreaking how honest and blatant it was. Like it's a good thing that Nensho-kun loved his own quirk's bullcrap, but that didn't mean you should be your quirk but sane all the time. I don't hate people for being honest about their personalities, but the two people you were talking about were honestly very eccentric. At least in their logic, and they were traumatized kids, so they had a understandably distorted view of normal and humanity respectfully. The undisguised voice of Himiko Hachibi spoke with a somber voice telepathically towards Izuku. So you're supportive but confused about Heito-kun and Himiko Toga, right? Like I heard that you didn't manifest your superpower quirk until very recently, so you were treated as quirkless for most of your life. US outcasts have to stick together. Izuku Keien. Himiko Hachibi left Izuku's mind completely. Izuku saw Aizawa-sensei in the distance, and it looked like he started crying for a moment before he stopped just as quickly. Aizawa POV. It's a good thing that Himiko Hachibi was interacting with others her age and explaining her own logic because it was very important. Like thank goodness that telepath quirk scanners exist to Aizawa to hear these conversations. Slightly irritated vibes intensifying from Himiko Hachibi in Aizawa's mind. Sure enough, the undisguised voice of Himiko Hachibi spoke telepathically towards Aizawa. I didn't know that you were eavesdropping on private conversations with some strange gizmo, Aizawa-sensei. I saw you start to cry and I was just about to comfort you, but then I overheard your thoughts about your eavesdropping crap. So what jumped out to you the most about Izuku-kun's chat to me, because clearly something he said was what made you almost cry? Aizawa told Himiko Hachibi in his mind. Well, it was the part of Izuku Midoriya talked about Himiko Toga never being validated in her god-awful ᴅᴇʟᴜ until she met this prophecy quirk welder kid that comforted Himiko Toga, and those powerful emotions made her bloody Princess Quirk gain new powers and a positive quirk awakening shortly afterwards. Like Himiko Toga is a child, a mentally ill girl, Himiko Hachibi. One that clearly never had positive human interaction regarding her own quirk's bullcrap until very recently with Himiko Toga's new prophecy quirk welder friend. Himiko Hachibi spoke telepathically in a polite voice towards Aizawa. What if Himiko Toga is right about her immortality theory, as beautiful but brutal it was? Like what if she had good and very logical reasons to come to her immortality theory as a dog de yokai quirk welder kid like me? Himiko Hachibi awkwardly added with a slightly nervous voice towards Aizawa. Not that I would ever do this stuff with my dog de yokai quirk, Aizawa-sensei, but if Himiko Toga turned out to be correct, she would usher in a terrifying but slightly beautiful era of a bunch of de yokai and hanai quirk welders eating a bunch of people for immortality. Like you have to admit that Himiko Toga's actual fucking cannibal nonsense decreases crime immensely like how All Might did but bloodier. Himiko Hachibi left Aizawa's mind completely. Aizawa told the students that they had to go fight their way through the great beast forest to get dinner. Every student ran into the woods to get to the dining hall as fast as possible. ᴱᴜ-ᴛᴏ aka Hayasha was slicing through dragons and other monsters made of earth and mud with his sharp claws and sword made from blood while flying in the sky. Himiko Hachibi was flying beside ᴱᴜ and fighting against some mud dragons in the air. Himiko spoke with an irritated voice. "It's a shame that I can't eat these things with my non-human dog yokai form that can be skyscraper-sized at biggest." 2 hours later. 9 p.m. It was so late. ᴱᴜ and Himiko landed at the house at the end of the great beast forest, and he and Himiko were the last people who arrived at the dinner hall. The wild pussycats did their little chant thing and congratulated ᴱᴜ and Himiko for fighting against the strongest and most difficult dragons and monsters. ᴱᴜ just leaped through the air, pinned a wild pussycat to the ground and snarled angrily at one wild pussycat with the quirk called telepath. ᴱᴜ was beyond furious whenever Aizawa-sensei immediately erased his quirk, making him turn into his loathsome true human form, which was a red shaggy-haired boy whose hair went down to his shoulders with turquoise blue eyes, and a boy that had the same muscular body type as ᴜᴍᴜ, ᴱᴜ's father. ᴱᴜ snarled angrily at Aizawa-sensei, but he stood up and let this pro-heroine lady go. Aizawa-sensei immediately deactivated his erasure quirk, and without hesitation, ᴱᴜ turned back to his dog yokai Hanayo/Hayasha form that's immune to transformation straining. Aizawa-sensei told ᴱᴜ and Himiko to get something to eat before going to bed. ᴱᴜ's dog ears nervously twitched, but he did as told. Aizawa POV. Aizawa couldn't help but to be impressed with ᴱᴜ-ᴛᴏ's fighting skills against big foes, like he and No was speaking truth whenever he said that he fought against many foes. Like ᴱᴜ-ᴛᴏ was shockingly honest about his dark as fuck past and actually fucking murdering people in his quirk-maddened insanity for 3 years. Why so many people were afraid of the bastard kid of Endeavor? Because they know they are encountering a thankfully now sane kid who had killed people during his own quirk-maddened rampages and probably was the Yoki culture version of Himiko Toga in blood shit. Everyone on the planet knew that Yoki culture existed, but that's all people know. However, prophecy quirk welders across the globe have been telling people that it was time to learn about Yoki culture. Oh dear God. ᴱᴜ-ᴛᴏ. You were just like Himiko Toga in Yoki culture. I can do even more profoundly dark shit that would make you fucking vomit if I told you. That's what you said to Tenya Ida and your other classmates. If Endeavor fucking finds out, you would be institutionalized permanently, ᴱᴜ-ᴛᴏ. I know how you became a undying Hanayo quirk welder kid and how you did that beautiful crap. That's what Himiko Toga said to you telepathically, ᴱᴜ-ᴛᴏ. It's not a fucking theory at all. It's actual fucking truth that Himiko Toga found out about the yokai and Hanayo quirk welders. Suddenly a very serious and darkened ᴱᴜ-ᴛᴏ spoke with telepathic powers. Now you know everything, Aizawa-sensei. Yoki culture did this bullshit all the time with their own quirks bullcrap. Why, it's fucking hidden from people. I had no subleti like Himiko because I was fucking insane, but my MOM knew about this culture, and she moved to a hidden Yoki city called Tani with me for years. The only thing I didn't know about Yoki culture was undying actually fucking means genuine immortality until now. My pro-hero costume design was actually what Yoki culture saw a undying Hanayo in their clothing because they were a clothing-based culture. It's actually disrespectful for a mortal Hanayo kid to wear undying Hanayo robes of the fire rat, i.e., gold anywhere on their bodies unless they were actually undying Hanayo quirk welders. If Endeavor Fuckwipe tried to destroy an entire cultural heritage, I will not hesitate to kill him and eat him raw. Yoki culture is the culture that embraced me, cared for me, and accepted me without hesitation regardless of Endeavor Fuckwipe lineage when I definitely needed it most, when I was most mentally ill and vulnerable. Like, here's the thing, The entire global Yoki culture knew that I was Endeavor's son, but they treated him as dirt and called him the frail and pathetic human vermin side of Hayasha because that's literally how they think about Endeavor, as human vermin. Like these people are human too, and even they hate Endeavor fuckwip. Know what Yoki culture liked was Inu no Ayashi, the dog de yokai lord of the west side of my dog de yokai Hanayo Quirk's bullcrap. My MOM, Ayashi Nensho aka Inu no Ayashi. Like these people emphasize the Deyokai side of a Hanayo Quirk welder kid. Like these people like Deyokai blood thick people, which was basically speaking another way to say that they liked people like them. Not hesitating to embrace the entirety of their own Quirk's bullcrap like casual cannibalism bullshit to conquer the new moon weakness permanently like me or to gain immortality. My MOM was Quirk managed by her broken and overpowered dog de yokai Quirk whenever she was a kid, and that's why she knows about Yoki culture and became a fucking yokai lord of the west as a fucking teenager my age. Aizawa told Ḥeito Nensho in his mind. Why didn't you tell anyone that your mother was a Yoki culture pro-heroine? Like she definitely needs to be a official Japanese pro-heroine if she was this powerful and this famous. Like you have Inu no Ayashi enemies just because you were her son Ḥeito Nensho. Aizawa felt the telepathic connection cut off. Aizawa saw Ḥeito Nensho slurping hot soba noodles and nodded yes in a polite manner. Ayashi POV. Son. Ayashi Nensho aka Inu no Ayashi is the first dog de yokai Quirk welder woman in history. A progenitor Quirk welder lady that was born 150 years ago. For 15 years from 4 to 19 years old, Ayashi was slightly delusional into thinking she was a genuine dog de yokai with a quirk. Became immortal similar to you Ḥeito. For decades Ayashi had many children, all dog de yokai Quirk welders or dog de yokai Hanayo Quirk welders, but she abandoned them at birth with their dads. Except for you Ḥeito and one other. And that's because Ayashi Nensho aka Inu no Ayashi couldn't abandon you in the cruel hands of Endeavor whenever she learned his true nature and woke up to his bullshit whenever she was about to give birth painlessly to you Ḥeito. However, prophecies can't be avoided forever. Your half-brother, on your mother's side, a dog de yokai Quirk welder man among other things whose undying but still Quirk maddened by his Inu no Senso Quirk will appear and he will try to take by force your inheritance, the Bakasega sword. Your half-brother Keseki Nensho is a dog de yokai / boiling water / strength enhancing / speedster / warping / telepath / healing Quirk welder man, and he's biologically speaking 19 years old, but he was actually 75 years old. Ayashi's thoughts were immediately projected to the half-breed mutt Ḥeito, in a rude manner by Keseki. Ḥeito POV. I'm superior to you Hayasha, I'm coming home from America after 20 years. I was absolutely disgusted by our noble dog de yokai mother falling in love with a flaming pile of human garbage like Endeavor and having you as the result. At least you were the most dog de yokai blood-thick Hanayo in history thus far. We are the only legitimate pups of Inu no Ayashi because she chosen us out of everyone else. Everyone else got that rude message from Big Brother Keseki even though no one else got Ḥeito's mom's thoughts beforehand. Except for Ḥeito himself. Ḥeito twitched his dog ears nervously but told everyone. Clearly my half-brother Keseki is Quirk maddened by his Inu no Senso Quirk, so please be diligent about his mental health condition. Trust me, I had no idea that I had a half-brother on my mom's side until now whenever he projected that message to everyone and especially me. Prophecies can't be tangled with. Why my MOM couldn't reveal Big Brother Keseki to me until he revealed himself to me. Poor Shuto was absolutely dumbfounded and he said to Ḥeito. So I have two half-brothers? Aizawa-sensei thankfully told Shuto. Half-siblings don't work that way Shuto Todoroki. Clearly Keseki Nensho is not a Endeavor kid, otherwise he would have said our father instead of Endeavor. Shuto looked so awkward and confused about the situation. Same here buddy. Ḥeito Nensho aka Hayasha put his bowl in the sink and walked into the building to finally get some sleep. 12 a.m. Everyone else and especially Ḥeito Nensho himself was sleeping peacefully in their sleeping bags. The clash of brothers' dream. ᴰᴗ was in some sort of graveyard, but not for humans but for giant animals or something like that, because ᴰᴗ saw a giant dog skeleton wearing some really cool armor from yokai culture. Then ᴰᴗ saw a 19-year-old dude with either a regular dog yokai Quirk or a dog 괰ᴟ Quirk dude who was in his humanoid 괰ᴟ form that's immune to transformation straining land right in front of ᴰᴗ. The 19-year-old dude looked fucking identical to Sesomaru, the dog 괰ᴟ half-brother of Inuyasha character from Inuyasha, the manga and anime, but his yellow eyes had Quirk maddened red pupils instead of sane black pupils. The elegant and sharp voice of Big Brother ᴄᴅᴛᴏ spoke to ᴰᴗ from this young man's lips. I have waited for so long for ᴂᴇᴜᴜ, you're just a half yokai mutt, you're not worthy of the battlefield sword of our mother Hayasha. However, I am a 괰ᴟ with honor and never returned to Japan until you were strong enough in Quirk and Inu yokai energy to fight against you for my birthright. You can have this pathetic healing sword. ⴄᴅᴛᴏ that didn't kill anyone except for ghosts and Reaper 괰ᴟ to resurrect the dead up to 8 times per person or heal them from any damage with a single swing of the sword. Big Brother ᴄᴅᴜ threw his sword from his hip to the ground, but like the sword had a mind of its own, flew back to the scabbard on Big Brother ᴄᴅᴜ's hip. Big Brother ᴄᴅᴜ looked so irritated by ⴄᴅᴜ's crap. Big Brother ᴄᴅᴜ lunged violently at ᴰᴗ with his claws burning with boiling venom. ᴰᴗ dodged the attack, but before the fight could continue further, suddenly ᴰᴗ's mom appeared in her humanoid dog 괰ᴟ form that's immune to transformation straining, and she told Big Brother ᴄᴅᴜ, I gave you ⴄᴅᴜ so you can learn how to heal and have compassion for humanity. ᴂᴜᴜ will only listen to those that either embrace their entire humanity or those that protect humans with a honest heart, but you do either of those things. ᴄᴅᴜ. ᴰᴗ may be skilled in his Quirk's power, but he didn't know how to use any Inu yokai energy like you do. ᴄᴅᴜ. This battle is premature. ᴄᴅᴜ. Big Brother ᴄᴅᴜ looked genuinely shocked whenever he heard that ᴰᴗ didn't know what the fuck Inu yokai energy was or especially how to use it. Big Brother ᴄᴅᴜ looked at their mom and told her to teach ᴰᴗ about Inu yokai energy, and he disappeared in a portal made of boiling water. The Clash of Brothers Dream End. Aizawa POV. Thank you Ms. Nensho for breaking up a fight between your apeshit sons. It's a dick move to attack your own brother while he is asleep. ᴄᴅᴜ Nensho. All for swords, are you for real? Also, it's absolutely beautiful how Ms. Nensho was planning on helping the mental health issues in both of her children by giving them the swords that they had. ᴄᴅᴜ Nensho's Quirk madness destroying condition for his Inu no Senso Quirk is probably something like gain genuine compassion for humanity. The ᴂᴜᴜ sword can only be wielded by those who embrace the entirety of their own humanity, or protect humans with a honest heart. But clearly you could only fully master ᴂᴜᴜ whenever you do both. What ᴰᴗ Nensho needed was embracing the entirety of his humanity. Obviously Ms. Nensho showed that dream to tell Aizawa 3 things. 1. ᴰᴗ Nensho had no idea how to use most of his own Quirk's bullcrap because he didn't even know that Inu yokai energy existed, which is a integral thing for all dog 괰ᴟ and dog 괰ᴟ Hanio Quirks that Aizawa himself can't even erase with his erasure Quirk. 2. What on earth ᴄᴅᴜ Nensho looked like in his humanoid dog 괰ᴟ form anyways, and a brief introduction to this young man's personality. 3. To prepare Aizawa for any Nensho family shitshow drama that would come flying his way. Aizawa thanked Ms. Nensho for showing that dream, and he went to bed himself as Vlad King took over the watch duty. Tuya POV. Tuya Todoroki aka Ichihai was confronted by some frizzy red-haired girl with red eyes in Ashibara City, and she said, My name is Renkin. I am a prophecy/dog 괰ᴟ/warping Quirk welder girl, and my eyes have guided me to you to heal your burns in Quirk Tuya. I know that Aiki wasn't time to reveal your identity yet, but we must be very quick because your half-brother ᴰᴗ Nensho will be in grave danger very soon in the Great Beast Forest of the Wild Wild Pussycats. The fact that this girl already knew Tuya's true name gave validity to her claims of being a prophecy Quirk welder kid. The girl opened a portal made of clouds and they walked through it to a huge room that was bigger than Tuya's hideout that was full of art junk everywhere with paintings, drawings, and other stuff scattered around. The girl had a huge jar of what looked like honey, but she demonstrated its healing power by burning herself with a candle and then slathered the honey-looking medicine on her arm, and it healed up instantly like magic. ᴡᴇ awkwardly took off his shirt and jacket. ᴡᴇ used the honey-looking medicine to heal his burns, and it was so powerful because his tear ducts actually came back from death, as the staples fell off that held his skin together, as the girl helped him heal all of his skin from his burns from his own Quirk's powers. After all the burns were healed, ᴡᴇ put his shirt and jacket back on. The girl then plucked a hair from ᴡᴇ's head and she mixed it together with some other medicine, and the combination created a glowing green medicine in a syringe. The girl named Rankin spoke with a stern voice towards ᴡᴇ. This medicine will fuse with your pre-existing quirk to invoke a healthy quirk. This medicine created artificial quirks that matches your mind, body and soul permanently, but in your case, this artificial quirk will merge with your unhealthy quirk to make a new and healthy quirk that cannot ever be stolen from you. If you tell anyone about this medicine, a great and terrible fate will befall you. The girl injected the glowing medicine into ᴡᴇ's arm. A beautiful and ethereal cold rippled around ᴡᴇ's body that was far more comfortable than the very uncomfortable heat of his bones that came from his original quirk. ᴡᴇ activated his quirk and it still looked like blue flames, but they were very, very, very cold instead of hot. Then suddenly ᴡᴇ got awareness of what his quirk got. 1. A awesome humanoid dog 괰ᴟ form, a non-human dog 괰ᴟ form that's immune to transformation straining. 2. A sword made of ice. 3. Ice breath. 4. Cold acid breath that can melt concrete and steel. 5. Warping quirk powers. 6. A whip made of light that can bind/tie up opponents without tearing. 7. Healing quirk abilities that can heal faster than normal people and heal people with a single touch. 8. Telepathic communication powers and telekinetic powers that can lift cars with the mind. ᴡᴇ deactivated his flames and he turned into his awesome humanoid dog 괰ᴟ form that's immune to transformation straining. ᴡᴇ was covered in badass slate gray tattoos/markings called ɪɪṛnᴏ markings that look like his old burned scars on his face, arms, and shoulders, clawed hands, elongated fangs instead of regular canine teeth, elfin ears, spiky and fluffy white hair that went down to his elbows, slate gray eyes like his mom's, and a cool dark red ᴛᴏ that wrapped around his shoulders that trailed behind him several feet like a cape. ᴡᴇ's brain was shifted to a regal and mystical mindset that was completely inhuman but fully intelligent like a human. ᴡᴇ turned into his true human form again. No wonder why little brother Ḥeito constantly liked his dog 괰ᴟ form that's immune to transformation straining. If the mind shift transformation was beyond badass to be. The prophecy quirk welder girl spoke with a friendly voice towards ᴡᴇ. Now you must go to the great beast forest of the wild pussycats to prepare for battle. Ḥeito had another half-brother, on his mother's side named ᴄᴟ, and he was quirk man by his Inu no Senso quirk, but ᴄᴟ will try to battle Ḥeito during the League of Villains attack, but if you care about your half-brother Ḥeito, you will fight against ᴄᴟ and protect Ḥeito from a premature fight. I suggest renaming your quirk to something else, something cold. That's easy, the Inu no Shimo quirk. The Dog of Frost quirk in English. ᴡᴇ thanked Rankin and worked away to the great beast forest. 7 a.m. Everyone else was training like demons to enhance their own quirk's powers, but Ḥeito himself was learning about Inu energy, and how the hell that worked. Aizawa-sensei told Ḥeito. Inu energy can be accessed in the true human form and in the dog 괰ᴟ form, and I can't erase Yoki energy because it's not a part of your quirk's powers. It's a internal body thing in dog 괰ᴟ and dog 괰ᴟ quirk welders. There's 3 types of Inu energy: venom, elemental, and shapeshifting. If you were a venom Inu energy user, you would have the power to create powerful acid from your body that can melt most objects. If you were a elemental Inu energy user, you would have the power to create an element different than your fire/ash quirk's bullcrap like water, for example. If you were a shape-shifting Inu energy user, you would have the power to change your shape into any animal, human, or object that's immune to transformation straining or have the power to temporarily transform people into anything else for a few hours at least, in your case. Since your mother has shape-shifting inu-yoki energy, and your father wasn't a regular dog yokai quirk welder man or fellow dog de yokai quirk welder man, you got your mother's shape-shifting inu-yoki energy in your dog de yokai hanayo quirk among other things. ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ. ᴘᴘ was told to do some body stretches and gymnastics to make his body flexible to handle the pain of using inu-yoki energy for the first time or as a novice inu-yoki energy user. Luckily, since ᴘᴘ did a lot of unnecessary dog-like mannerisms all the time, like scratching his ears with his feet, or running on all fours as fast as a racehorse, he was already pretty flexible. After demonstrating incredible flexibility, Aizawa-sensei told ᴘᴘ to imagine changing into a dog. ᴘᴘ did as told and he saw his body start to break and bend over as he screamed in agony, but he successfully turned into a red-furred dog with turquoise blue eyes. Everyone else looked at ᴘᴘ and they winced in sympathy, but they continued their grueling training exercises. ᴘᴘ spoke with an angry voice towards Aizawa-sensei. That fucking hurt. What the fuck? Aizawa told ᴘᴘ. Play with pain, that's the only way to get past the agony of using inu-yoki energy. ᴘᴘ-ᴛᴏ. Eventually you'll have the power to change shape without pain. ᴘᴘ continued shape-shifting back and forth from a dog form to his true loathsome human form while screaming in pain and agony. Katsuki POV. Dog Hanayo dumbass is such a good dude. Like Katsuki Bakuga remembered the cool shit that dog Hanayo dumbass told him telepathically. My brother did you a dirty in that fight. I would have never fucking hesitated against you because you deserve that respect in combat. Katsuki Bakuga, your treatment afterwards, being chained up like that was absolutely appalling, like these people didn't know that you had fucking suffocation trauma from the slime villain with that muzzle on your face. Like this, is why I hate humans and my loathsome true human form. They don't play fair or fight with manners like animals. I hunt from time to time and I know how to kill for food. If you were a fucking villain or something similar during the sports festival, my true dud pup half-brother Shudo would have fucking died from his own hesitancy against you. Katsuki Bakuga. More to the point, this shit. My brother did you a dirty in that fight. I would have never fucking hesitated against you because you deserve that respect in combat. Katsuki Bakuga. Like Katsuki knows the truth whenever he heard it, and the moment dog Hanayo dumbass appeared in the sports festival, he spoke nothing but scathing and bitter truths. Especially about his own self-loathing shit about humanity. Like Katsuki can actually relate to this bullshit but in different ways from dog Hanayo dumbass. Like dog Hanayo dumbass has a older half-brother, ᴘᴅᴛᴏ, who was actually delusional about his own true nature and of his family's natures. A self-loathing delusion into being a dog de yokai with a quirk instead of being a full human man who had a dog de yokai quirk among other things. Polite knocking in Katsuki's mind. Katsuki whispered out loud while training with his own quirk's bullcrap. Come in. The telepathic and elegant voice of ᴘᴅᴛᴏ spoke to Katsuki. Forgive me for prying in your thoughts, human, but you were thinking about the half-human mutt Hayasha and I didn't know how insightful Hayasha actually was. Like me, obviously this trait came from Inu no Ayashi, mine and Hayasha's mother. Humans are too frail and pathetic to give them the time of day. Hanayo are a mockery of a Deiyokai's power for the most part unless they became undying Hanayo. See, here's the thing about Hanayo. They only can inherit half a Deiyokai's power at birth, but whenever they became undying Hanayo, they can become even stronger than their Deyokai parent in quirk and inu-yoki energy. Hayasha is no exception to this phenomenon as a undying Hanayo. However, the humanity of a Hanayo always hampered their potential because they weren't the superior full Deyokai or full human vermin. They were both and neither. Katsuki told ᴘᴅᴛᴏ in his mind. You stone dog dumbass. I don't know much about Deyokai or Hanayo quirk welders, but I do know that they were no full human beings with the ability to change shape into a Deyokai or Hanayo. You're one of those people, stone dog dumbass. Surely you know that you were quirk maddened by your Inu no Senso quirk. ᴘᴅᴛᴏ spoke with a elegant and sharp voice towards Katsuki. I know that I have quirk madness in my boiling water quirk among other things, Progenitor Quirk welders almost always have Quirk madness in their lives. Even though I am biologically 19 years old, I'm actually 75 years old, going to be 76 in a few months from now. I'm a undying dog 괱ᴟ and I am quite powerful. There's a bunch of boiling water Quirk welders out there. That's a lot of nieces and nephews of Dog Hanio Dumbass. Amused and elegant laugh from Stone Dog Dumbass. Stone Dog Dumbass left Katsuki's mind completely. Katsuki continued training. Shuto POV. After a bunch of elemental training, Shuto Todoroki turned into his Tsukiyasha/Dog 괱ᴟ Hanio form, which had clawed hands, elongated fangs, strawberry pink hair that went down to his waist, pointed pink dog ears on top of his head, and a large pink dog tail that was as long as his body. Shuto felt his brain shift into something inhuman but had humanity in its core being, something rougher and more ethereal than his true human form. Shuto smelled hot soba noodles in the far distance, and he sat down on the ground like a dog and sniffed the ground since scents clung to the ground. Shuto was awkwardly crawling on his fours following the scent of hot soba. 2 hours later. 9 a.m. Shuto was utterly lost as he lost the scent of hot soba and in the middle of nowhere. Rough and sandpapery laughing that echoed throughout the woods. Shuto stood up and saw a huge dragon made of mud, and a lady's voice spoke through the dragon. "Whoa now! You're wandering way out of bounds, Shuto Todoroki. I'm glad you can smell so well, useful for tracking nonsense, but you can't just leave the Great Beast Forest to go to some restaurant to eat. Hop on the dragon and come back to the rest of the class." Shuto hopped on the mud dragon and it flew away towards the middle of the forest where scattered buildings are. Heito POV. Did you ever wonder what the fuck your own half-brother was doing and you used your telepath Quirk bullshit to figure out what he was thinking? For 2 hours, all Heito got was hot soba vibes from Shuto as he unintentionally did scent locking to find hot soba in his Tsukiyasha form. Scent locking is very powerful and helpful to find certain things that you can imagine, like food for lunch or dipshits like Stain. You know, in video games there's a lock on target button. Same exact principle. Heito projected his thoughts to people in the Great Beast Forest. Heito continued shape-shifting back and forth while in pain as Inu Yoki energy training. Tuya Todoroki aka Ichihai was watching his half-brother Heito and full brother Shuto in the distance from a cave in the Great Beast Forest in his humanoid dog 괱ᴟ form that's immune to transformation straining. Suddenly some Sesshomaru-looking fucker, down to the robes and armor, landed in front of Tuya. The young dude spoke with a elegant and sharp voice towards Tuya. "It's nice to see a fellow dog 괱ᴟ with a quirk nearby. What's your name?" Tuya told this dude. "The name is Ichihai aka Inu no Shimo. Clearly you're quirk maddened by a dog 괱ᴟ quirk among other things. What's your name?" The young dude said. "My name is Kesuke Nensho aka Inu no Senso. What brings you here, Inu no Shimo?" Tuya told Kesuke Nensho honestly. "I'm a son of ⴈYou can probably smell his stench in my blood. I used to be so fucked up in my quirk's bullcrap, but some powerful dog 괱ᴟ quirk welder girl who had a prophecy quirk among other things healed me and made my flames really cold instead of really hot permanently, and gave me more powers like telepath powers, Oregon cold acid breath that can melt concrete and steel among other things. We both have the same exact brother in Heito." Kesuke Nensho sniffed the air like he was confirming the ⴈ kid claims. Kesuke Nensho looked displeased, but he said, "I definitely smell the charcoal scent of endeavoring your blood and Inu Yoki energy despite being a icy and rainy dog 괱ᴟ with a quirk. It's common for a 괱ᴟ to be born from 2 humans and they wouldn't even realize that. I heard of you, Inu no Shimo, you were the heckler vigilante. Ichihai, but you were clearly horribly burned and trapped in your loathsome human disguise form that's immune to transformation straining because it's what happened to a fucking unhealthy quirk marriage 괱ᴟ kid. Of course I have to reveal you, Inu no Shimo." Tuya laid down on his side and gave a thumbs up as Tuya saw a wisp of yellow light exit from Kesuke Nensho's fingertip. Aizawa POV. Aizawa absolutely fucking hated this plot twist. The entire planet got this conversation with Ichihai aka Inu no Shimo and Keseki Nensho aka Inu no Senso, and if true, there's two fucking bastards of Endeavor running around in Ichihai and Heito Nensho. Of course the heckler vigilante would immediately heckle Endeavor the moment he was exposed as a fucking adulterer if Ichihai aka Inu no Shimo was a fucking Endeavor bastard and knew this. Immediately after Aizawa thought that, Aizawa's thoughts were immediately projected to the world by Ichihai aka Inu no Shimo himself while laughing like a maniac. Natsuo POV. Ichihai is fucking Tuya's age if Tuya was still alive. Not once throughout the bullshit marriage to Natsuo's MOM did Natsuo's father stay loyal. God, this is so fucking infuriating. Go ahead and dig yourself a fucking hole again, flame dipshit, because it would guarantee this dude's own illegitimate bastard kid status like little brother Heito. Immediately after Natsuo thought that, Ichihai himself projected Natsuo's thoughts to people while laughing like a doofus. Keseki POV. Keseki told Inu no Shimo in a polite voice. Let's go to the city and get a paternity test for you, even though any yokai or hanayo worth their salt would be able to smell the stench of Endeavor in your blood and Inu Yoki energy Inu no Shimo. Keseki and Ichihai aka Inu no Shimo flew away from the great beast forest to piss off one adulterous human vermin. NG POV. Yen-ji Todoroki aka Endeavor was working and was profoundly troubled. God. If it turned out that Ichihai was a Endeavor kid, all the other failures would come to haunt Yen-ji. Like it was infuriating how the dog de yokai hanayo demon kid couldn't keep his rabid mouth shut about anything. The only one besides Shuto that wasn't a total bust was Yogen Morimoto. A natural Quirk Union child, since Ayashi told him, more like forced Yen-ji, to never have Quirk marriage kids ever again. Yogen is a lava/ash/telepath/strength-enhancing/dog de yokai Quirk welder boy. He's in the support heroism class in Yui High School as a first year. Enji's eyes narrowed as he saw Ichihai aka Inu no Shimo with his new friend, and Ichihai was smiling and absolutely cocky as hell as Ichihai was greeting fans of Enji's and totally stealing the show. Enji told Ichihai, "You will be exposed as a fraud, Ichihai." Ichihai turned into his true human form, which was completely healed up from his burns, and told Enji, "No pops, you'll be exposed as a fucking slut again. After this, let's go dance in hell, father." Enji was confident. He and Ichihai marched in a hospital to get a paternity test. 3 hours later, Yen-ji Todoroki aka Endeavor was absolutely ruined. 99.99% chance that Yen-ji Todoroki is the father to the exclusion of 1 out of 3 trillion odds. Ichihai aka Inu no Shimo was laughing like a madman, but he was completely justified. Ichihai turned and faced Enji while saying, Well, what do we have here? Another failure in me? God, you have no idea how much I am thriving right now, like I didn't know about Heito. I thought I was just the only one, but oh no. There's more, isn't there? It's like a demented scavenger hunt. Let's find all the bastards. Ichihai aka Inu no Shimo warped away in a portal made of cold blue flame. Fuyumi POV. Fuyumi Todoroki was rarely ever angry. But good God, she wanted to impale her father with her ice in the dick so he could never ruin another lady's life and her child's life. It was obvious that Fuyumi's father was ruined in reputation forever because of his own philandering bullshit. Thank God that Fuyumi's MOM actually got fucking sane and immediately divorced Fuyumi's father as her first sane act before moving to a apartment in Ufusfure City whenever Heito was revealed to people. Like Fuyumi's MOM got so angry she got sane. Through some sort of apex mental equalizer quirk awakening. As the doctor said, how many women are out there with kids that were trying to avoid being abused and mistreated as well as humanly possible? Yen-ji Todoroki aka Endeavor? How many lives did you drop a romantic hydrogen bomb in Endeavor? Fucking Zeus! Immediately, Fuyumi's thoughts were projected to the world by Heito while dying from laughter at the last thing. Keseki POV. Kezaki was disappointed whenever Ichihai told him that he had to stop Kezaki from attacking Hayasha since it was a premature fight in fate from some kind of dog yokai girl who a prophecy Quirk. Kezaki was then told about the League of Villains attack would happen soon in this camping trip in the Great Beast Forest. Kezaki and Ichihai aka ᴘᴜ-ᴛᴏ agreed to have a truce. Don't fight against each other, the both of them had to fight against the League of Villains tonight. Kezaki Nensho and Ichihai aka ᴘᴜ-ᴛᴏ were patiently waiting for the League of Villains to appear in the same cave in the Great Beast Forest. 1 p.m. Rei Fubuki was so angry but she couldn't blame the kids, like Heito Nensho or Ichihai aka ᴘᴜ-ᴛᴏ. There's more out there. Yen-ji Todoroki wasn't fucking subtle during Rei's marriage to that asshole. Rei just wanted to be naive. Like Rei could never pull off that shit with bold confidence. Bet you there's American Endeavor bastards, because Yen-ji Todoroki absolutely loved to be in America over the years. Like ladies please, there's better men. Don't fuck Yen-ji Todoroki. Don't indulge this asshole that can't even keep it in his pants. Rei projected her thoughts to people with her new telepathic powers. Shuto POV. Like Shuto was actually fucking embarrassed to be a Endeavor kid. Like so far, the two people that claimed to be Endeavor bastards turned out to be telling the truth. Apparently dogs are a fucking theme in Shuto's dipshit father's types. Like Shuto's MOM is right. There's better men out there. Like Mams, just because Shuto's father is a beefcake man who has this flashy and dopious quirk doesn't mean that he was a good match for you. Shuto's thoughts were immediately projected to the world by Heito while humming in agreement. Yogen POV. Yogen Morimoto was tinkering with some new gizmo in his far more ethereal and beautiful Inu no Yogen/Humania dog yokai form that's immune to transformation straining. Quirk madness was a fucking bitch to have. Yogen Morimoto was Quirk madden for 7 years and only recently got sane just before entering UA High School, but not in the heroics class because, fuck you, to Yogen's dipshit father. Yogen told his teacher that he needed to go to the bathroom. Yogen walked out of the classroom and into the boys' bathroom. Yogen turned into his true human form. Shaggy red hair with dark green eyes with clawed hands and elongated fangs with a dark green V on his forehead, but he had the same body type as Endeavor Fuckwad. Yogen punched a mirror, and it shattered. Yogen grabbed a mirror shard and cut himself on his lips in a jagged and large wound. A dude who suddenly walked into the bathroom screamed and ran back out to call for help. Yogen used his own lava powers to cauterize his face in agonizing pain, but he didn't scream or cry. Now there was a big and red scar like Big Brother Shuto's face scar on the lower half of Yogen's true human face. Yogen then turned into his humanoid dog yokai form like he always did. A beautiful brown-haired boy was in the multiple reflections and he had the same dark green eyes as before as well as the dark green V mark on his forehead, had Enno's scar on his humanoid dog yokai face, a beautiful red inumoko that wrapped around his right shoulder and armpit and trailed behind him several feet, elfin ears, and turquoise blue inuirasumi markings on his face, arms and shoulders. Yogen Morimoto made himself a vow. I will be undying, live as a dog yokai forever, and be the best and strongest bastard. Yogen fled in his non-human dog yokai form that's immune to transformation straining that's the size of a regular dog currently but can grow bigger to a size of a 3-story building if he wanted. Yogen ran through the school and shattered a window to fly out. Yogen saw a pink scar on his mouth in his non-human dog yokai form that's immune to transformation straining. Yogen roared in victory and slammed Endeavor Fuckwad himself into the concrete near UA High School, and Endeavor Fuckwad was beyond horrified, but he didn't show that in his face. Yogen turned into his humanoid dog yokai form and said while smashing his dipshit father's face underneath his foot, and said, Sup, Dad, go ahead, try to deny me now, the test results won't lie. I know that all healthy dog yokai quirk welders have the power to actually fucking eat people if Himiko Toga is any indication. Little bitches fuck, if you don't claim me, I'll turn and eat you raw. Yogan dragged his dipshit father into a hospital for a paternity test. NG-POV. It's fucking starting. Ichihai's heckling voice echoed in Enji's mind. Why, ashamed of the consequences of your actions coming to bite your ass. Ḥeito is a great and apeshit kid. Oh, there's many stories that will continue haunting you. Ḥeito is just the first. Enji was sweating nervously, but he burned the sweat, making steam. Ichihai's heckling voice echoed in Enji's mind again. It's a demented scavenger hunt. Let's go and find all of the bastards. Enji winced as he felt his blood being drawn again for a paternity test that was going to be a absolute endeavor kid. 3 hours later. 4 p.m. Yeah. Enji's goose is cooked for good. A well-done goose. Yikes. Irritated and vindicated vibes from Yogan beside Yen-ji. Shuto POV. For fuck's sake. The bastards crawling out of the woodwork, third bastard kid of Endeavor confirmed. God, this was not how Shuto imagined. Having a big family. All of these fucking bastards are pissed off and Ḥeito is the one that started it. Like 3 Endeavor kids are. UA high school students. Shuto, Ḥeito, and now Yogan. Shuto would fucking maul something if he heard more about Endeavor's dick coming to haunt him. Today. Like dog Deyokai are a fucking type for romantic side quests in Shuto's dad, which is something that Shuto didn't want to ever fucking know about. Like honestly, no wonder why Ḥeito would constantly be in his Hayasha/dog Deyokai Hanayo form that's immune to transformation straining. Because true human form constantly reminded Ḥeito of shitty humanity. Tamura POV. This is very exciting. Like the League of Villains, we're going to attack the Great Beast Forest tonight to recruit Katsuki Bakugo and Ḥeito Nensho into the League of Villains by force if necessary. However, look at all of these jaded Endeavor bastards popping up. Like there's gotta be someone who is literally jaded enough to be a fucking villain or villainess that's a Endeavor bastard out there. Tamura told Kurohige his thoughts about this situation.